national internal primaries to elect their party's flag bearer for election 2024 and also parliamentary candidates for the same elections in December of 2024. We have been going around the country. We've gone to most of the regions. We've gone to the Upper East region. We've gone to the Eastern region. Yes, we've gone to the Northern region. We've gone to the Northeast region. We've gone to the Volta region. We've gone to several places. There are still more places to go, but let me just quickly tell you that our guests are seated. Two of them have already arrived for the forum, and I'm going to come to them as and when we are done with these rounds that we are doing. And so I'm waiting to pick the signal as to who we have next. I know we have someone next on the line. Are we going to Damongo? Yes, I believe so. So Tahiru Washiru is in Damongo constituency. Tahiru, good morning to you, and what can you report?
Yeah, good morning. So I'm currently at the Damongo Senior High School where the election is expected to take place. I spotted quite a number of police officers interacting with some of their senior officers. They told me that they have enough officers to make sure that they put things in place and to make sure they have a transparent election. And also interacting with the Electoral Commission. Currently, they are set, everything is set, they have arranged their things. And then delegates have also started arriving, waiting for the party leadership to come and then address them before the start of the elections.
And so is that to say that the Electoral Commission has finished their setup, NDC party officials have arrived? Is that what you are painting?
The EC officials have finished setting up, but it's now the party officials to come and then address delegates before they kickstart the elections. I can cite a number of delegates who have arrived, and some are still trooping in at the Damongo Senior High School here in the Savannah region.
What is the total number of delegates we are expecting to vote in the Damongo constituency?
So we are expecting about 808 delegates here who will be voting for only two candidates. We have Popotiko Baba Sadiq Zankawa and the former MP Adam Mutawakilu. So these are the two candidates that these 808 delegates are expected to elect today.
And Mutawakilu is the former member of parliament. He stood on the ticket of the NDC in the 2020 polls and lost to the MPP's Samuel Abujinapo, who is currently the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. I want to believe that.
Exactly.
Absolutely. All right. So, Tahiru, please do stay on the ground in Damongo. We will come back to you as and when the polls start there. So Tahiru tells us that the EC is set. They are waiting for officials of the National Democratic Congress to arrive to give the go-ahead so that the voting process can start. And that is the signals we are picking from the Damongo constituency. So our correspondents are all over the place, and I believe that we have Dauda Zikovo. So Dauda is in the Techiman South constituency. Dauda, a very good morning to you, and bring us up to speed with what is happening in the Techiman constituency.
Good morning. Well, I am, as you just mentioned, I am at the Techiman South constituency voting center. I can report that the Electoral Commission is ready to start the exercise. And the security is all over here, making sure that there is adequate protection and security. So right now, what I can say is that it is the delegates that they are waiting for to come and, queue for the process to start. So everything is set from the Electoral Commission's end and from the security end. But for the delegates and the candidates, I have not set my eyes on any of the candidates yet. But the delegates have started coming, and I believe they are waiting for all the delegates to, be available before the process will start.
Okay, so tell us. I need you, Dada, hold on. I need you to tell us about how many delegates we are expecting to vote in the Techiman South constituency and who are the main contenders for this primaries.
Well, in the Techiman South constituency, we are expecting 2,403 delegates. 2,403 delegates. And the main contenders here are the 2020 parliamentary candidate for the Techiman South for the NDC. The man whose issue became the talk of Ghana for almost a year before the case was determined at the Wenchi High Court. I mean, Christopher Bassonte Bayure. He was the man who sent the Electoral Commission, the Techiman South MP to Parliament, to court, saying that he was the winner of that election and then he was cheated. And so he's one of the main contenders, as well as one Mr. Awal Mohammed. He's very popular in Techiman here for a lot of interventions. And there is one other candidate who is contesting these two. But these are the main two are the 2020 NDC parliamentary candidate and that of Mr. Awal Mohammed.
Right, so 2,403 delegates expected to cast their votes in the Techiman South constituency. Two main contenders, Awal Mohammed and Christopher, the one who contested in the 2020. Thank you very much, Zikofo, for your reporting. Do stay on the ground. We'll come back to you for more updates. And let's take a quick trip now to New Drabin South constituency. And John Atefa is there in the Eastern region, and he joins us with updates. John Atefa, good morning to you, and I believe that you can bring us some updates.
Yes, good morning, and I'm currently in New Drabin South, in Koforidua. In Koforidua, we have New Drabin South and New Drabin North. When you come to the whole of the Eastern region, we are supposed to have about 35,343 delegates coming to vote in the Eastern region. And 22 constituencies are voting comparatively. Aside that, there are 7 candidates going unopposed. Then there are elections on hold at Apatia, at Amankese, Afam Place North, and Ayeswano. They have been on hold for now, so they are not taking part in the election. And according to the EC, the election is supposed to start at 9 a.m. They are set, everything is set, but they say they will start at 9 a.m. And in the New Drabin South constituency, we have about 1,569 delegates. 1,569 delegates who are supposed to vote today for 2 people. That is Mr. Wade and Dr. Ofei Utu, and they are coming from 179 branches in the constituency. So everything is set. The security presence, you can feel it. There are more security presence in the area, and so we are just waiting for the EC to give the go ahead for the voting to start.
All right, John. So as you mentioned, the New Drabin South constituency is one of 2 constituencies in the Koforidua area. The other one is New Drabin North. Is that it?
Yes.
Do you have a picture of what is happening there? I know you are not there, but have you received any reports from there?
Oh, I just spoke to someone there, and I'm told they are also supposed to start at 9, and the delegates are also ready. But I'm yet to get the information from there. I'm on my way to the place, and I'll bring you up to speed on what is happening there.
Right. So what is good is that at least the EC is set up and ready for the election voting process to begin at the New Drabin South.
They are ready. They are set up at the NAT Hall. When you come to the New Drabin South, they are taking the polls at the NAT Hall. So they are set and everything is there. They are just waiting for 9 o'clock for the commencement of the poll. So
for the 2 contenders that you mentioned, have you spotted any of them or any of their representatives at the voting area currently?
Yes, Dr. Martin Otu-Ofei, who was a parliamentary candidate for the NDC in the 2020 election, was there. I spoke to him, and he said he has done a lot of work. He has done a lot of work from 2018 when he lost after this time, and he believes that the delegates are going to give to him to give the vote to him. I asked him what about the fair delegate issue. He said no. He knew the people. He has worked with them, and they are going to give him the vote. So he believes that by the close of vote, he is going to be the parliamentary candidate for New Japan South.
So John Atefa is our correspondent in the Eastern region. He's currently at the New Japan South constituency, and he brought us updates on what is happening there. The Electoral Commission is set. It says that it is starting the voting process at 9 a.m. It is about 12 minutes to the top of the hour at 9 a.m. And once the voting process starts, we will be minded to go there. There are in excess of about 2,000 delegates or so who are voting in that particular place. All right, so I believe we have Al Hassan on the line from Wale Wale. Al Hassan, good morning to you. What's happening in Wale Wale?
Good morning, Oliver Foss. I think the atmosphere here in Wale Wale is good, and delegates are preparing to cast their vote here in the Wale Wale constituency in the Northeast region. As I speak, the EC or the electoral materials are in, and voting is about to commence here in Wale Wale. Though speaking to the communication officer of the party in Wale Wale here, he stated that there's going to be free and fair elections here. So, here in Wale Wale, we have a lot of surrounding communities. And we have about 161 polling stations in the Wale Wale constituency. So the communication officer stated that they will start with the delegates in Wale Wale here. As and when the surrounding communities delegates are in, they will pause the Wale Wale delegates, and then the other surrounding community delegates will start the ball, will continue with the process. When all the communities within Wale Wale are finished voting, then Wale Wale delegates will also continue because they are already in town.
All right, that looks like a plan for me, if you ask me. But tell us, who are the candidates who are contesting for this Wale Wale slot, and how many delegates are we expecting to partake in this exercise?
That's right. We have 4 aspirants. And that's to say, Honorable Abuba Abdallah. He is the former Northern Regional Minister under JM regime. And then we also have Captain Seydou Jamal Tunzua. And we also have Mr. Musa Husseini. And then Hamisu Saibu. Those are the 4 aspirants we have in the Wale Wale constituency here. And 1,477 delegates are expected to cast their votes. But with this number, the NDC has those who are also part of the delegates. We have the former appointees and the MPs. They are not part of these 1,477 delegates. So for now, we are having 1,477 delegates who are to cast their votes.
All right, that sounds excellent to me, if you ask me. So Al Hassan is our correspondent who is in the Wale Wale constituency. But tell us, before you go, I don't know if you're still there, but what's the security situation in Wale Wale where you are?
Well, I think the atmosphere currently, as we speak, the atmosphere here is good. I was trying to get in touch with the police commander, but he declined to comment because he said no. As with but security, we have about over 30 police officers in the area here, or in the voting center in Wale Wale here.
Right. Thank you very much, Al Hassan. Al Hassan is our correspondent in Wale Wale, and he brought us updates on what's happening there. It looks like the EC is set in most of the places that we've been speaking to. Some are expecting to start voting in about 9 minutes or 8 minutes. That's 8 minutes. It's about just about 8 minutes to the top of our 9 o'clock, and voting will start in some places. Once voting starts, we will be going to those places and to bring you updates on the process. So far, we've not heard of any misunderstanding or any confusion anywhere. It appears everything is going on smoothly smoothly. And soon, the centers who are running late will begin the voting process. Let me quickly touch base with our guests who are in the studio for the forum this morning. And Mr. Kwame Jantua is a private legal practitioner, and he is a regular here on Asasi Radio on the forum. And he joins us this morning with his thoughts on the ongoing issues that we are going to be discussing. So good morning to you, Mr. Jantua.
Good morning, Wilberforce. How are you?
All right, so I'm good. It's good to see you. And then we also have, and this name, I've always struggled to mention it, but today I'll try very hard to mention it. So Dr. Mahama is here. Dr. Mahama is a technical advisor at the Office of the Vice President. Good morning to you, Dr. Mahama.
Good morning.
Yeah, so the name, let's mention it together. So you are Dr. Tia Abdul Kabiru Mahama. Yes. Okay, so I got it right this time. Okay, thank you very much for coming, and it's always good to have you here.
Thank you very much.
On the set. Yeah, so these are the two guests who are already seated, and to quickly pick your thoughts, the National Democratic Congress is after what people will say battle. The last 1 week from Monday to yesterday are now set, and it looks like their election process has begun. Your quick thoughts about the entire process. You can start from the brouhaha that has gone on in the party.
Yeah, thank you very much, and good morning to your cherished listeners across the country and those monitoring us live on your Facebook handle. Wilberforce, I think that this process started with actually a very tumultuous event preceding today. I must admit that for them to have come this far to holding this election is quite of the grace of God. I say the grace of God because events preceding today suggested that it was going to be difficult for this particular election to come on as expected. We remember when they opened the nomination and for people to express interest both in the parliamentary and presidential. And what took center stage actually was the presidential, where Mr. Dr. Komana Dufour was running. We also have Mr. Bonsu running against the most experienced, against the 4 times. I mean, this is his second time, but he's been the presidential candidate for the party for the second time now. But for the third time, this is their third time, apart from winning it in 2012 election. I mean, these events were making it difficult for us to wrap our heads around the whole event. I was of the view that the MDC would not be able to see the light of the day as we're having today. But thankfully, and thank God, the event is coming. Across the country, they are holding the elections. What was considered antithetical of this whole process was the fact that major concerns were raised. We are trying to build a democracy. And when you are building a democracy and you want to rule a country, it must start with the party and its electionary processes. If you don't have the democracy ingrained at that stage and you want to rule over a country, or you are going into an election that will involve the masses or what they call the adult, universal adult suffrage, you are expected to have problems. And the appreciation of your democracy starts with your party level activity. Mr. Dufour has raised a number of issues, and the basis of those issues, he went to court. Until yesterday or so, he withdrew the injunction that he sought to put on the process of this election. He raised substantial issues regarding the voter register, and that is the source, the foundation document of this election. So if a major player, someone who has been a finance minister of the country, someone who has been a member of the party, someone who is equally qualified to lead the NDC. He was also
a governor of the party.
In fact, he was a governor of the Bank of Ghana. Such a person making case on the register or the processes of a party, we can't just take it lightly. And he was convinced, and that's why he had to take the decision. I don't know, the backroom lobbying and then, negotiation that went on. But he withdrew the injunction reluctantly because the injunction, when he withdrew the injunction, he followed with withdrawal from the whole race, and that was quite unfortunate. Even apart from that, the campaigning that preceded today was very, 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 the words, the trade of words, was they used kind of unsavory words on each other, where people had to call each other drunkards, people had to call people, different sort of names. The innuendos of this whole campaigning, the words that were traded, I thought that it was muddying the water, because look, at the end of it all, the NDC has to come back together. They have to present a formidable opposition to see whether or not they are able or they are capable of wresting power from the MPP, of course, under the leadership that would be of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Just like John Mahama is seen as more or less the presumptive candidate, we are equal clear in our mind. To battle someone like Dr. Bawumia will require a concerted
Bawumia presumptive candidate?
Is a presumptive candidate of the
Now
MPP.
they've said it.
No, I
asked last week. Now they've said it.
No, you don't need to believe.
I don't know.
You know that it's just like your, know. So that understanding for them coming together as a united force, not a divided house, to battle the election with the MPP is crucial. Of course, as a member of the MPP and a sympathizer of that political tradition, for that matter, I wouldn't want the NDC to be formidable, to present a stiffer opposition to the MPP. But in the interest of the nation, in the interest of the democracy we are building, in the interest of competitive and multi-party democracy, you would want an opposition party to be able to present an alternative. If in any event the people are losing hope in the MPP, you will expect the opposition to be better. You get it? So when the opposition is not better, when their house is in tatters, when the opposition is not coherent in his activities, one will just shudder to think that whether, even if they are given the country to rule, they'll be able to rule the country as expected. But that it may. I think that today we have finally gotten to this particular stage. The elections have started in some areas. Voting has started, I'm told, in the Ayawaso West, Wogon constituencies. In the next few minutes, across the country, other polling stations will be contested. There are spotlights. In the northern region, I think that you went to Sanargo and then gave an account. The incumbent MP is going to have a run for it. I will not be surprised if ABA I will not be surprised if ABA Fiseni loses these primaries. Aside that, there is also a stiff battle in Bolgatanga Central, where Mr. Adongo is contesting with Dr. Emmanuel, an engineer. That is also an area that you have to look out for. Of course, by virtue of the fact that Adongo is the current MP and he has a record of winning for the party, and he has ruled for the last elections like almost 8 years going, 7-8 years going. He's been the MP, but it is an area, or it is a constituency we have to look out for. Aside, that constituency, Kumbungu is another area where Ras Mubarak is making a comeback. Okay. We have to equally look out for that constituency. But Ayawaso West Wogon was another constituency where prior to this day we had a lot of acquisition.
I thought that was on hold.
That's on hold.
I thought Ayawaso West Wogon was on hold. My producer will help me with that. But
I monitored Joy News and they are saying voting has commenced at Ayawaso West.
Okay, so parliamentary is on hold, but the presidential is ongoing. Yes.
Okay. So this situation on the ground, I just hope at the end of the day, the issues raised about the register, of course, the major actor in this case, they have withdrawn the petition. But there was another injunction. I don't know how they have treated it, because aside the withdrawal of that one, another person, of course, I don't know his local standing in this case to even issue ask for that discretionary relief from the court as to injuncting the election.
Okay, so we know that you are talking about Edgar Samoa Boateng. He also discontinued the application. Okay. So before the end of the day yesterday, he also
So the EC. Let me also comment briefly on the position of the EC. The issue took a decision that some people were criticizing, thinking that the decision the EC took to say that we are not going to comment, we are not going to participate, we will not be part of any election processes the NDC intends to organize until the legal hurdles have been cleared. It is not new. That has been the position of the EC all this while. Whenever a legal issue is raised and is brought to the attention of the Electoral Commission and they are duly notified, they try to stay away from that election. So
you see, they don't even have to try, because once there's an application served on you asking that an injunction has been served, it kicks in. And so by operation of the application, you have to hold on.
Yeah, I mean, that has to be, but you know.
But the application wasn't passed.
It wasn't.
It was not going to court.
Yes, but it had been filed and they've been served that there is an interlocutory injunction. There are lawyers here, so you guys will help us.
The Electoral Commission had been served with.
Yes.
So they have been served. So the fact
that
they
issued a statement after they were served.
I wasn't aware.
So the fact that the court had not granted the injunction does not in itself give them the room to go on with the operation, because they are supposed to operate.
No, they've been served.
Yeah, they've been served. That look, there is an injunction. I mean, we are praying for an injunction and you've been served until the court determines otherwise. The EC's position was the right position to have taken. And when they took that decision, I commended the EC very much for taking that decision, which is quite inconsistent with the norms or their practice over time. And immediately the injunction was withdrawn. The EC issued a statement asking that once the legal hurdles have been cleared, it is now time for them to participate and to carry on the election as mandated as per their mandate. So basically, that a category of Ghanaians, a certain group of Ghanaians who were condemning the EC, thinking that they are taking political in regarding NDC internal matters. I just think that accusation was unfounded.
All right. So the evidence on the ground is that the Electoral Commission is participating in the process. Their voting booths and all that have been erected. The pictures that we have been seeing along the line are showing that EC is participating fully. But Mr. Jantua, there is a gentleman here on Facebook who is saying something that is quite interesting. I don't know why he has chosen to say that, but let me use that as the foundation for the question I want to ask you. He says it's pretty clear the Adabraka dictators have skewed the elections for Mr. Mahama, but they must beware of the future. The NDC must be futuristic and think beyond 2024. The NDC will face leadership crisis beyond 2024. And this is what Jones Kobe is saying on our Facebook portal as his comment. Now, that is just to ask you that looking at the way the NDC has gone about their things, they are the largest opposition party. They've done their elections from the branch level. They have done constituency. They've done national elections. And now they are doing the final one, which is the election of their candidates, both presidential and parliamentary. They stand to be commended, isn't it? Having been able to do all this within the space of time that they had.
Good morning. Good morning.
What are you laughing because I'm asking whether they stand?
Good morning. Good morning to my fellow panelists. May I take this opportunity to wish my mother happy Mother's Day and all mothers a happy Mother's Day.
So the Mother's Day is tomorrow, right?
Yes.
So we are wishing the Mother's Day in advance.
Without mothers, we won't be sitting here. So we wish them all a happy Mother's Day.
Absolutely.
The question that you asked, it's a process, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It has to be done. For you to go to elections, it has to be done. And we realized when the interlocutory was filed, it stopped things. It stopped all the preparations. It stopped everything. So it is in line of the event. I don't see why anybody should clap for any political party who is putting their processes in place to go for internal elections. That is what is expected of them. If they are not able to do it, general public will question them because it's expected. That is the line that it should take. And in the end, although the EC is not mandated to handle such elections, it's a good thing for them to do. Because if they don't do it, it can bring crisis and it can bring so many things that are untoward. My good friend Dr. Mohammed's comments are very interesting. I didn't know that Vice President Bawumia was the presumptive.
No, that's not what we are talking about. He politicking in passing.
Why are you stopping me?
No, I'm not stopping you. I'm only saying
me.
Today we want to
leave me.
Okay, all right. Today we want to focus on the NDC.
I said leave me.
Okay.
Huh? I'm saying last week I asked, and everybody said no, it can't be. The others. Now we know. Look, I think going forward, I knew at 3 o'clock that Dr. Dufour was going to pull out. I actually got a message indicating that. But I think if, and I don't know, you'll be able to tell me, I don't know how old Dr. Dufour is.
We understand that he's 80.
Okay. Now, he doesn't look 80. His faculties seem to be, all in place. But if he has a plan to come back after 2024, where there will be no more John Mahama, then he's being very strategic.
How are you sure that there will be no more John Mahama?
John Mahama has only 4 years.
Oh, so you mean if in the event that
after 2024?
Yeah. So in the event that Mr. Mahama doesn't win the 2024
whether
election,
he wins or doesn't win the 2024 election, can he come back? Will he come back? Will he come back 2028?
So that's the question. Will he come back? Because
that I'm not sure.
I think he doesn't think it's prudent for him to come back.
Well, we don't know.
Maybe that's what he's trying to imply. I didn't get that impression, but
we don't know.
Okay.
With politics, I always say with politics, you sleep with odd bedfellows with politics. But for me, there's something strategic with regards to the MPP and the NDC's strategy. Ashanti is key in both parties. Ashanti is key. And I would have thought the candidates in the MPP who are Ashanti, the candidates in the NDC who are Ashanti, who are standing for flag bearership, I would have thought that to be strategic, and because Ashanti is key, the presumptive candidate now that we know, in MPP, would have taken the Ashanti in there. And the presumptive candidate in the NDC would have taken the Ashanti in there. Battled it.
You mean in terms of in terms of choosing their running mates?
Yes, in terms of choosing their running mates. I was coming there, Kingsley. In terms of choosing their running mates. And this is strategy.
But are we there yet? Because the candidates have to be in place and then liaise with their parties to choose their running mates.
Look. You are a journalist. You're an experienced journalist. You are a top journalist in this country. You work.
Am I?
Yes,
Thank you.
Yes, you are. You are. Well, I've known you when you started. I've known you, and I've seen how you've grown. You've been with some of the top institutions in terms of the presidency doing your journalistic work. And you know that Vice President Bawumia is not prepared to take Alan. Alan is not prepared to go with Bawumia. On this side, Mahama would not go with Dufour. Dufour would not go with Mahama. But Chemate and Dufour, Ashanti. And it's the Ashanti seat or region that you want both to have a strong position in. Because, for instance, Aswanse, the MPP wants Aswanse. The NDC needs to win Aswanse, and the MPP want it. And it shows. If strategy were to work, this would have been a best ticket, and it would have made the elections very, very interesting. I must say, I don't know who's going to win on the MPP side. But where the NDC is concerned, it is automatic that John Mahama is going to go hands down. Depending on the quantum of votes that he gets, that would also be something that one would look at, because I can see if he doesn't get the kind of votes, 90% of the votes, comments will fly around. that there are question marks to his leadership as the flag bearer of the NDC.
Okay.
But that,
so just quickly to just inform that voting we are set to have started at the Wa Central constituency. Was it one of the no, okay, you were talking about the upper east.
Wa Central is also another constituency.
Another must watch.
Where Joyce Bawa, Mukhtar Bawa had gone for Rashid Pelpo. I'm told the husband of Joyce is contesting Wa Central. And by that, I mean, he served a notice that parliamentary elections or members are not the preserve of some people.
Yeah, so Rashid Pelpo is the incumbent. And then Joyce Mukhtar has her husband also vying for that seat. So there's contention. Mr. Janto, I just interrupted because I just saw it on the portal.
It's good to bring.
Yes, please. So please complete your submission.
And so, for me, that would have been ideal. Now, if you're looking at both parties, inverted commas begin and close. I can say the value is the same. Because what's going to be the basis of this election? What will be the focal point of this election? The focal point of this election is going to be the economy.
You mean the 2024 elections?
Yes.
Okay.
President Mahama, he went to IMF, didn't he? Did he?
Yes, 2015.
He went to IMF.
Yes.
President Akufo-Addo, he's gone to IMF.
He's about completing the process.
He's gone to IMF. They cancel each other out there.
He's going to IMF.
Well, whatever the case is, he's going to IMF. He announced to us that country has to go to IMF. They've both been to IMF. 2, President Mahama took loans to pay loans, didn't he? The same, President Akufo-Addo have taken loans. So that cancels both of them out. What the people will now be looking for, and the basis of that election, if we were to cancel these two out, where that value is the same, how have they handled the economy? That is where the question is going to be. That is where it's going to be fought. Unfortunately, President Akufo-Addo is his last term. Nobody can come and hold President Akufo-Addo's hand and say, come and stand on the platform and defend your presidency. Nobody. Nobody. He can decide to stay at home and do whatever, or even leave the country during elections and do whatever he wants to do. But those who would win in the MPP, the flag bearer who is going to win in the MPP and his vice, would now have to defend President Akufo-Addo's reign. And it will be juxtaposed against President Mahama's reign. For me, in some weird way, and in some clear way, it's good that President Mahama is coming. Because he will have to defend. He will have to defend his time as president. Nobody will have to defend it for him. He would have to defend it himself. On the other side, if it's the presumptive who is coming, he's vice president, isn't he? So whatever the president did, he is expected that he knows everything. He would have to defend it. If he doesn't come and any of the others come, they would also now have to find ways of defending it.
I have seen Vice President Muhammadu Bawumia already defending the current administration. He has some long videos about the things that he thinks are in defense of the Akufo-Addo administration already. No problem. Have you seen them?
No problem.
Okay.
Who decides?
The people.
Exactly.
The people. Okay.
Exactly.
So,
so if he has a long video, and that long video is convincing enough for people to vote for him become president, fair enough. But if the people feel that whatever long video, whatever short video both have, whatever they say is not convincing enough, then there is a possibility, if the presumptive is going to battle with President Mahama, there is a possibility that 2024 can go second round.
Okay, so I just did a check online to try and verify the age status of Dr. Kwabena Duffuor, and that's because we wanted to be sure. So when I did the Google search, the results I'm finding is that it is suggested that he was born 1948. And so 1946, I should say 1946. And if you do the math, that will mean that he is about 77 years old. And so, yes, we want to put that out so that we clarify the issue about 80 or not 80.
So yes. He could be strategic. And remember, going forward, the power base can move from John Mahama to Duffuor because of what Duffuor has done.
All right, so we're going to go around again to pick the thoughts of our correspondents who are all over the place. But before we do that, let me come to our third guest who has also made his way into the studio. Nick Bakpo Samoado is on his way. He says that he had to go and check his constituents to see whether everything was going well. And so he's on his way. But a lawyer is here. Lawyer Kingsley Amoakwa Buedu. Did I Yes, I got it right. Okay, wait. All right. I want to be. I don't want to be in contempt of of Kingsley. So, Kingsley, you're welcome, and thank you as always for coming. But quickly to ask you, some say that your opponent, the National Democratic Congress, has had a lot of fire. I mean, has had their beard burning the whole of this week before they were able to proceed with their internal processes to elect their parliamentary candidate and also presidential candidate. And people are quoting the old proverb that says that if you see that your friend's beard is burning, you must fetch some water and put it by your side. Your party is about to initiate the process. I think it starts on 26th when they open nominations. And it's more than 6 months away. So some are saying that your party should take a cue from what is happening and to make sure that those mistakes, perhaps if there are mistakes, they don't get repeated. Are you of the same opinion?
Thank you very much. And my regards to my Asin Central constituents as usual. MPP, NDC, there's no way MPP would degenerate to the level at which NDC has organized itself for the past 2 weeks. It is unfathomable. It cannot happen. All right? That is not to say that human nature, human agencies, there will not be one mistake here or there. But to have a male's picture with a female's name underneath it as a final data to be voted on, that is the stock in trade of NDC. Can never be MPP. Never. Okay.
But they have explained that their requirement is for them to have a delegates list.
Great.
And that it was somewhat someone's internal decision to say that let's beef it up and let's add photos. But that their rules does not require them to provide photos except to provide the delegates list. And that the list is, you are able to predict the list. You cannot say that the list is challenged because we know those who constitute the electoral college.
Great.
So providing the list is not a problem. Somebody just decided to add photos and it has brought all these challenges.
Great. Thank you very much for that input as well. You remember the Ghana, which was on the equator, which was distributed amongst the foreign dignitaries? That's the same analogy we have in here. You cannot say that it was someone's decision to add photos and therefore the photo should go over a male picture should go over a female. Who was doing the checks about this?
The Ghana on the equator, if you could refresh our memories, I don't remember.
It was an event.
Okay.
It was an event, a state event, all right, where the contract for publishing the program, there will be some synopsis of what Ghana is, where it is, and all that. And then that person said Ghana is on the equator. And remember, it made all the noise and whatnot.
Was it a 6-match?
I think
we invited Uhuru Kenyatta.
Who was made the president of Ghana.
Yes, and it was the same document.
Okay, all right. Okay,
yes,
I don't remember
it was a
that
brochure,
part of it. So yes,
yeah.
Okay.
You see, so yes, work has been done, but there should be at least someone to check to see whether the things are done properly. You're talking about the mayor of Kumasi, the former mayor of Kumasi. You're talking about a former governor of the Bank of Ghana, who is an economist and a finance person, a finance guru. That is doctorate. All right. Then he becomes a minister of finance. You're talking about a former president of Ghana, all right, who has gone through the ranks. These powerful persons are standing for election. And you said, this is the data you could generate, and we can't go over it to look at what is right and what is wrong. And then we just presented this. And when the person had the chance to say, these are the mistakes I've seen, the discrepancies, let's correct it. Nothing is done. And before I realized it is getting to the election date. So the person had to go and file a issue a writ in the court. No, you cannot get there. All right? And so there is the issue of, as you said, if your neighbor's beard is burning, you have to fetch water. Yes. So, and we cannot be naive to say that we shouldn't be watching out as to what we should and what we shouldn't do.
So your party may not have.
Get there.
Yes, your party may not have the issue of voters register and all that, but you have more than 5 delegates, five candidates.
Yes.
Now I think it's about 9.
9, yes,
and
that's right.
what it means is that you are going to have to go for a super delegates conference to scale down the number to 5.
That's
now,
right.
if you go through this process and the other 4 or 5 that you take out are aggrieved, they could also go to court.
You see, after the 17, there's 17. I mean, there's a lot of names.
In 2007, you
2007.
mean? Yes.
The party took a decision that if there are more than 5, they have to go through this process. And so I don't see how the person will go to court when you have submitted yourself to the process. And we are saying that we are presenting these to the 200,000 plus who are the electoral college, but we should have a super delegate to whittle it down. I don't see how that should be problematic. If you are saying that the process in selecting the top 5 becomes problematic, that will be an issue we can discuss. But the fact that it's happened, I don't think that should be an issue.
Okay, so we are told that voting has also started in Navrongo Central constituency. And voting is underway in other places in the central region and all that. So our correspondents are all over the place, and we will be going back to them to pick their thoughts on what's happening on the ground and all that. But let's talk about Dr. Dufour's exit.
Yes, I just wanted to
you haven't
about,
finished?
Yes, I'll just talk about his exit.
Yes, so yes,
right.
I'm starting with you on his exit.
Okay.
Does it take anything away from this process of electing a flag bearer for the NDC?
For us, for me in particular, I thought President Mahama would win. All right. I would have thought that NDC should pick Dr. Dufour as a flag bearer. But the way things were going, it became clear that President Mahama will win. They even called it a presumptive president, flag bearer and all that. Then some names were thrown at Dr. Dufour. To me, it was so uncalled for, things like Ghana at 80 and things like that. It shouldn't be happening because this is a stalwart of your party, a financier. But politics allow people to, their own attack him to that extent. I don't think that is proper. All right. But we can't help it. This is where it is.
But President Akufo-Addo,
yes,
when he was going for the candidature for the 2016 elections,
yes,
he was about 72 years old.
That's
or
right.
73, I believe. And
yes,
some of the candidates who were competing with him used it against him back then at 70.
Precisely, but do not call him Ghana at 80. That's what I'm saying. By all means, age becomes an issue that we talk about. My big brother was saying whether he will come back or not. I'm thinking after 80, he won't come back. That's what I'm thinking. All right.
Well,
so
the current president will exit office at the age of 80. He will just be 2 months shy of his 81st birthday when he's leaving office in January 2025.
Yes. After 80, I'm thinking, you've been there, done that. You got a t-shirt.
But the U.S. president is 81 now. He's going to be 81 in November, and he's going for re-elections at the age of 82.
Oh, yes, that's U.S. All right. We're talking about Ghana. Okay. But there's a lot of things that are different from the way we do our politics and the energy you need and the fiscal presence you must show. There are times when there was I don't know what to call it, where someone was beamed on stage to give a speech. We are yet to get there. But in Ghana, there's a lot of running around, traveling. People want to see you, shake hands with you, and things like that. There's a lot of things that when you're 80, you may have a difficulty doing that. You're better off staying behind as a statesman and giving advice. The issue is how Dr. Duffuor has hesitated. It's created an impression that there's all no right with the electioneering process. And so it's skewed in favor of President Mahama. That matter will not go. He's withdrawn. It will not go. As to whether he staying in could have worsened the chance of President Mahama, I doubt that. But it's exposed that we're all talking about even the data used. There's a female name here, and that's not the only concern he had. Then, when he withdrew the matter from the court, which I think is the prudent thing to do, the most prudent thing to do, is to withdraw this case, because then you are running for the flag bearership of the party. And a day before the election, if they had gone through, the best that could have happened was that it would have been that the judge would have given his ruling there and then. He could have also said that I'm adjourning, I'll come and give my ruling. No one could have forced the judge. That would have stalled the process. That would have undermined the whole party.
But we are told that the suit that was filed was defective. To the effect that, the first defendant on the record was the General Secretary of the NDC.
Right.
Now, the General Secretary of the NDC is not the one organizing the elections.
Right.
It is the National Democratic Congress as a party. Now, because it's a registered political party, it's a legal entity that can sue and be sued.
Okay.
You understand? So they are saying
these
that it was defective.
But these are arguments you stand up on your feet to make to the court. Whether the proper person has been sued or not, have been brought to the forum of the court or not. We didn't get the chance to do that. And the matter is that after all that, there will be a counter argument on response from the legal team of Dr. Duffuor and all that. It may have taken maybe 4 hours. The judge will rise and say, come back on a certain day. He may, or could have sat there and written his long ruling. And remember, such a ruling like this would have, written here, right. A ruling like this would have been published, have gone very far, and so she would have taken her time, you see. So he's withdrawn. That would have been it. He's withdrawn the process in court. I think it is very good that he also withdrew from the race, because he had already muddied the waters. Okay. But the fact is that he still maintained that the irregularities were not corrected. That is why he's withdrawing. That creates a sour taste in our minds, in our mouths, so that President Mahama will win. He may get over 90% the way things are going. All right. But as to whether he's used appropriate means to get that 90% plus,
you mean the presumptive leader's election will not be legitimate?
It will be legitimate, but the process will be questionable.
Okay, Doc. So we some people say that with Dr. Duffuor pulling out is just a sign of throwing in the towel.
Yeah, you see, when processes are not fair, when you are going to have a fight with your neighbor, or you're having a fight with someone, and it's obvious that someone is holding your leg in support of the one you are rivaling, you have to just give him, because if you don't, you'll be given the beating, you'll be mercilessly beaten up. So I think that it is on the back of that he took a decision too. I don't see it as a withdrawal in the interest of peace. No. It's absolutely not a consented withdrawal. In fact, he's been forced by the unfairness of the system to withdraw. That's basically...
It was a protest.
Exactly.
Withdrawal.
So that we have to make clear, that to that extent, John Mahama would have a free run. John Mahama will go and win the election, but he has a lot of work to do if he's not able to appease these people. I'm saying this because if we start and we say that the whole architecture is against or in support of one particular person, and even when they raise issue and they are saying there's injunction, general secretary of that party will go ahead to say that if the EC is not even coming to organize the election, our election directorate would go ahead and organize the election. It suggests that they were trying to do everything possible to foster the minds, to foster the candidates they will want on the people. But you see, I don't have doubt that even if election was organized fairly, John Mahama would have won squarely. Okay, I don't have any doubt as to that effect. So I find it difficult to understand why they will not allow such a fair process to continue. Maybe some people just want to create a sense that we are for John Mahama and that we will do everything and to create a sense of likeness or be in his good books, so that when power eventually or unfortunately goes to their end, they will be in the good books of John Mahama. But that is not the way of, you have a political party to preserve. It is on the back of that political party that you want to come to government. So the sanctity, the preservation of that entity, that is so crucial to me and for me than trying to please an individual. If you organize election fairly and Mr. John Mahama wins, as expected, we're all thinking he will win, or he will even win in any way, no one would have had reason to question. If the issues he had raised, for instance, where he was brought to the table and explained, or the about 200 or 500 names that were missing from the register or that were padded to the register we are taken off, that will never stop John Mahama from winning this election. Okay? But maybe some people want to create a sense that Mr. Gentile was saying, Lawyer Gentile was saying, that he must win some 90% or 100% to send a signal. But for me, look, if you win by 51 to 49, and you are able to bring the 49 back to the table for you to discuss, it's far better than winning 100% or winning 60%, and the rest of the people would sit aloof and let you go through a process. Remember, Ashanti region would determine whether or not John Mahama can make an impact in the election or not, in the 2024 election. It's only Ashanti region that John Mahama will use to make an impact or not. If he fails woefully in Ashanti region, then John Mahama is sort of second round. John Mahama would in fact, MPP's candidate will beat him in the first round, because for the North is gone for John Mahama.
You can't say that.
The North is gone for John Mahama, and I'm saying that.
And why would you say that? Is it because of the Bawumia factor?
I'm saying that on authority because look,
don't take things for granted.
I'm not taking things for granted. I'm not taking the fact that I've said is gone for John Mahama is not a suggestion that MPP is going to be complacent in addressing the needs of and working on in the North to ensure that they improve the margins or they improve their fortunes. What I'm saying is that looking at where we have come from the North, if Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia wins as the presidential candidate for the MPP and John Mahama wins for the NDC, the battle in the North is going to be a battle of records. Even if we go to other issues of interest, such as we call them the idiosyncrasies of the voters, the numbers that in terms of the population where people vote on ethnic or tribal or whatever line, the numbers are far in advantage of Bawumia than John Mahama. Okay, but we are not even going to go there. We are not even going to go on that particular tangent. Both of them are northerners, and for those in the south, you are all northerners. There's no differences between whether you are northern of this nature. You are all northern, and that's what we are taking. But we're saying that on the matter of competence, on the matter of projects and development to the north, on the matter of who has the potential of leading the country for a relatively longer time, the north is a goner for John Mahama. Okay, no person from the north will want a president from the north to serve only 4 terms. 4 years. Okay, so that is the point I'm making. But John Mahama wins in the south or being able to make some impact. Last year, they attempted to make 1 million votes from Ashanti region because their idea was that if we get 1 million votes from the Ashanti region, we can be able to improve our fortunes. But now, Dufour is from that place. Mr. Bonsu is from Ashanti region. You have basically, in fact, they have even made tribal comments. They have even made tribal comment to the fact that all the time it's always been about Ashanti. Okay, no less a person but the spokesperson or an aide to the candidate John Mahama. Okay, when you stroke this kind of tribal sentiment against a group that you are trying to even galvanize their support a group that you are seeking to get at least 1 million votes from. I will not be surprised that in the next election, they garner no less than 500,000 votes, because these are the people you have hurt. You have basically shown that the party, NDC, you cannot belong to it when you are from the Ashanti region. That's basically the sense being created. And I think that it's very unfortunate that they have to force Mr. Dufour to go. It is going to be a lot of work, and they have to do a lot of work and a lot of appeasement. They have to engage elders to apologize before Mr. Dufour will even come to the table, because the old man is hurt. It's hurt not because the election he would have lost it, but it's hurt because he has considered his age, he's considered his contribution to the party, his experience as a governor and as a Minister of Finance, and all this, the party has not given me the respect to even give me a listening ear for me to ventilate my concerns to them.
Okay, so some of the NDC people that I've heard talking about this Dufour Mahama issue have said that, look, if you talk about NDC as a party right now, and you are comparing who has a constituency in the party, Mr. Dufour's constituency comes nowhere near Mr. Mahama's constituency. On a scale of 1 to 10, they are saying that Mr. Mahama's constituency is about 1 to 9, and Mr. Dufour's constituency is just 1. So what will really be the impact of a man that his own party people think that he has no constituency in their party?
I don't even know the measure of their constituency, whether they are looking at the voters or they are looking at the appointees who parade themselves around these leaders, or they are looking at the grassroots of, admittedly, John Mahama has more. That's what we all say he's going to win. Okay? If we did not appreciate his constituency, we will not say John Mahama is going to win. Okay? But to belittle, to weather down the impact or Dufour will have in this election is to be causing your own downfall. I'm saying this because, look, John Mahama's votes in Volta region, in the north, it's going to be, if you like, if you take, let's assume that the whole Ashanti was going to come in for Dufour, the whole of Ashanti. You cannot say that this man has no constituency. We are just hypothetically that he's from Ashanti region will go for him. John Mahama is from the northern region, all the north, the 5 northern regions of the north would vote for him. You cannot compare that to say that John Mahama, there's a gulf of difference in terms of their constituency. You cannot say that. Or what I think they should be thinking of that. Look, the election is a simple majority. In fact, it's 50 plus 1. Okay, 50% plus 1 vote. I don't know the framers of our constitution make sure that. I think that the reason why it is plus 1 is to also account that even if you're in the minority, you have a role to play in determining who becomes the president of the country.
And why everybody should participate.
So that's why it's not only 50%. The 50% speaks of the majority. And the plus 1 accounts for the minority. To say that a member of the minority, even though you may be one, where you tilt towards will determine who becomes the president of the Republic of Ghana. And it's not just the majoritarian rule. Okay, so the framers of the constitution was very deep when they proposed this particular. So for you to say that I have constituency, we are the majority, remember, the minority, the Ashanti region votes, if you don't have them, you can never be the president of the Republic of Ghana. If you don't get the Ashanti region's vote, just like if you don't get the Volta region's vote, if you don't get the Central region's vote, if you don't get the Western and Western North, Northeast and the Northern and Upper East and Upper West, Ahafo, Bono and Eastern. These are every part of the country is important. But look, the numbers are in Ashanti region. And I cannot just understand why you will be preaching and as part of your blueprint, you want to get 1 million votes in Ashanti region as part of your strategic roadmap to victory. Yet, you would treat the aspirant from the Ashanti region with such contempt. You would treat them with such disrespect. You would treat them as if these are people whose contribution to the NDC is nothing to write home about. That is what we are worried about. And I think that it's a good omen for the MPP. I think it's a good omen for the MPP because these events, they say the preceding events will always cast their shadows.
Coming events cast their shadows.
Cast their shadows. So
the constitutional provision that you try to rely on, I wanted to read it verbatim so that people get to understand it. So it says that, so this is Article 63.3 of the 1992 Constitution, where it says that a person shall not be elected as president of Ghana unless at the presidential election the number of votes cast in his favor is more than 50% of the total number of valid votes cast at the election. So you see, we have chosen to say 50 plus 1,
yeah.
but the constitutional, the words of the Constitution is that more than 50%. So as soon as you cross the 50%, even if it is plus 1, you have won the election.
Exactly. So we use the 50 plus 1 as the threshold, the constitutional threshold you must meet, the minimum number of votes. The more, the better. Okay, but at the minimum, it must be 50 plus a single voter.
The last election, President Akufo-Addo won by 51 point what?
It was 51.7%. Thereabout.
Almost 52.
52%. Okay. So for me, his withdrawal, back to his withdrawal is something that the NDC has to take a real look at. I will be happy if they are not able, if they don't even listen to us. I'll be very, very happy if they don't listen to this suggestion we are making here, because it works in the interest of the MPP. But if they want to ever have the chance of making a good impact in the next election, they must go back, they must apologize to these people. Mr. Asedun Katia, Fifi Kote, who led this particular scheme, this particular grand scheme to rig, more or less, to skew the results towards a certain candidate or certain candidate of the establishment, must come back, apologize, and more importantly, their lead attack. In fact, the lead person who is attacking these people on Facebook, on Twitter, Joyce Mukhtar Bauer, must be Mr. Jomama must call these ladies and these gentlemen to book, because the way they are doing, they want to throw the NDC into tatters, and we don't want an opposition that cannot. In fact, if that character, that behavior is used, finds its way into governance, we'll find a very chaotic, very catastrophic situation in terms of managing this country. We don't want those tendencies to translate or to transition into government in the unlikely event the Ghanaian people are considering or consider them to become part of government. So that is the concern I'm having with this issue. But lastly, we must note that the election 2024 is going to be, he mentioned, records between the NDC and the MPP. He mentioned that we've all gone to IMF. It squares up.
Who is he? Me?
Yes. Yeah, Mr. Gentwa mentioned that we've all gone to the IMF. It has square up. But the Ghanaian people will equal also try to square up, whether they were free senior high school or not. They will square up that. If they're not able to square up, they will make a determination. The Ghanaian people will also try to establish whether the infrastructure development that has taken and square, if it's not squaring up. Admittedly, infrastructure development has been part and parcel of every government, but they will attempt to square it up. If it's not squaring up, they will make a decision. They will try to find out whether the massive introduction of innovation and technology and digitalization that has made the ease of doing business for the country and even make life simpler and easier for people, if it is squaring up. If it is squaring up, they will make it. If it's not squaring up, they will make a decision. They will equally try to find out if education in general, technical and STEM education has been given facelift. If it is squaring up, they will be able to tell. If it's not squaring up, they will tell them. Again, they will look at the personality of the two candidates who are going to contest. I'm not sure whether they have their candidate yet. Mr. Gentwa's party.
Nick Wako says that.
Yeah, he's a presumptive candidate for.
Yesterday, I saw another person who is also vying for it. He's a lawyer. He's a young lawyer. He says
he's going to contest Mr. Gentwa.
Yes,
I said I'm contesting.
So yes,
we all know you are there. They are presenting
really?
something.
So his name is Wayo. Wayo Ghana Nti.
Okay.
Wayo Ghana Nti Esquire. That is the name on his artwork.
Oh, so then two lawyers.
That's his artwork that he's putting out. You know him,
I don't know him.
He's a lawyer. He's a young lawyer. I'm sure lawyer knows him.
Okay.
Oh, you don't know him? Okay, I know him. He used to be a Rastafarian.
Okay.
And then when he was entering law school, they asked him to cut off the dreadlocks because the law school you can't bring that there.
Okay.
So he cut.
So I mean, the personality. The two personalities will also be squared up. to find out who.
Scribblet, eh?
Yeah. to find out. I mean, he's supporting Mr. Gentile in this regard, so he's biased.
Really? I haven't said
He's
that.
I mean, Wilberforce is biased. He's biased towards Mr. Gentile. So remember, this is the situation.
Okay.
It's unfortunate that the old man has to chicken out, has to withdraw. He feels like it is not in his interest and it's not in the interest of democracy. It's not good to participate in the shambolic processes, because the outcome of it shows that, look, the candidate elected, a group of NDC people will feel like he was not validly elected. That is what is going to be established, because a group, no matter the number, by that particular action of Mr. Dufour, Dr. Dufour, is an admission by them, whether factual or not infactual, whether by law or not, it's an admission that the elected person or the elected presidential candidate after today's process was not validly elected. He was a product of a scheme designed to impose a certain person to serve the ego of a certain class of people in the NDC.
That sounds to me like what Donald Trump started in the US after he lost the 2020 elections, where he says the election was a scam and that it was a big lie. I don't want to believe that the NDC is going that route from what Doctor is saying, that they are going to say the election. Mr. Mahama has won. This will be the third time he's going for primaries, or second. So in 2012, he was automatically acclaimed. Yeah. 2016, he got competition. 2020,
2016 competition, how did it go? The person was declared a mentally incompetent person and whatnot.
Okay. Then in 2020, he had competition. Dr. Alabi and all the others, Professor Alabi, all competed with him. And then now, ahead of 2024, he is having competition, perhaps maybe the stiffest that he has seen in Dr. Dufour and Kojo Bonsu. And even that Dr. Dufour has chickened out. And so this is the third time.
I wouldn't like the word chicken out.
Okay.
He has been compelled by the circumstances to come out.
Okay.
It's not that he was afraid.
He was not afraid. Okay. So he was compelled by seen circumstances. These are not unforeseen. These were seen because he provided.
Why are you repeating his words?
No, he's not saying the same thing.
I'm not saying the same
It's a thought, but the thought is a fact.
Okay, Mrs. Jantua.
How you interpret your thoughts and how you interpret his thoughts are two different things.
Oh, but he had a choice to choose mine. He's believed mine.
But you know, Mrs. Jantua, they say that for every internal elections of any political party, after you are over and done with, there's a healing process that must start. From where you sit, what will be the approach that the NDC must take for their healing process? Because it's expected that they must heal. They have perhaps even a longer time because they are electing in May. The elections is next year, December. Their major competitors are electing in November. That will be almost just 1 year to the elections. They have a year and some 6 months.
That is what the MPP shouldn't take for granted. They shouldn't take it for granted. The MPP shouldn't think that because of what has happened, it's free for all where they are concerned. They should not take anything for granted. President Akufo-Addo came 2016, 2017 with what majority? 1 million. Maybe so?
Yeah, huh? Over 1 million difference.
Over 1 million. Huh? In 2020, what was it?
It was halved.
Halved. Not even quartered. Halved to 500,000. Don't take it for granted. Don't take it for granted. You go do what you have to do. Every political party, go do what you have to do. You're not in the minds of people. 2, insults. Insults. That they've insulted Dr. Dufour because of what he's done. Is it new in our politics? Is it new in our politics? 2, 3, 4, 5 days, 1 month ago, Professor Frimpong Boateng, what insults hasn't he taken? Isn't it from the MPP? Didn't they insult him? It's part and parcel of the politics that we have to be able to cut out. It's everybody's responsibility to stop those insults. Be it the person not being a top person, be it the person even now trying to stand an election. Those insults should be cut out. And you will see, when it gets to the super delegates of the MPP, you will see the kind of insults that would fly. Those who probably would be halved out and their supporters and some of the things they will say. You will see. it is something that is ingrained in our politics that is negative, that has to stop. Now, the major challenge for me with regards to the NDC is their executives, the new executives in place. They got a bloody nose in Parliament the last time, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't look as if they've changed their ways. You can't control a party just because you feel you are executives. You've got to have a way where you what? You jojo and you make sure that you can bring everybody on board. Now, with what has happened today, if the executive, the chairman and the general secretary, they don't have that consensus outlook in pulling back Dr. Dufour, because remember, in the last election, Kojo Bonsu also withdrew, didn't he? The last election. Kojo Bonsu withdrew the last time.
Okay. That he didn't go through,
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Yes,
yes,
he withdrew the last time. This one, because it's Dr. Dufour and the kind of stature he has within Ghanaian politics, I won't even say NDC, within Ghanaian politics, it makes it pretty open and clear that something has to be done in terms of consolidation. But he has withdrawn. What do I expect? I expect the first person, and look, I'm not in the NDC. It could have happened, I don't know. But the first thing I would have expected was John Mahama sitting with Dufour. And I expected, before this thing even got to the gates of the court, that those three who are standing would have met to discuss the situation and found ways of correcting it. Because I didn't think this thing should have ended in court. Same party. It's not a question of if Dr. Dufour is in a different party and Mahama and the rest are in a different party. Same party. A fear asem. It is something we can discuss at home. And I said on another station, if such a thing happened in the MPP, before you get wind of what is happening, they won't expose it. Are you trying to tell me that there are no challenges in the MPP today? There are no challenges. There are no members in the MPP who do not like what is happening with the presidency today. Do you hear a word? Do you hear anybody saying anything? It's kept in. And I expected the same to happen with this particular issue because it is a small thing that could have been sorted out. And the NDC would tell you, we've always used a delegates list. This photo album thing is something that it isn't something we have normally used. We've always used delegates. And to add insult to injury, we now have an ID card, don't we?
The Ghana card.
Yes, we have the Ghana card. And even to test it, the Ghana card could be used at the polling booth, couldn't it?
I think I saw a document that from the NDC that specified that if you were coming, you should bring your voter's ID card or the Ghana card.
It would be a good test. So the question of photo album, for me, how does that become a situation when, if, and remember, how many delegates in each constituency? Isn't it 9? 9. It's 9. And if it's 9...
9 branch per branch.
Okay, 9 per branch. Are you trying to tell me that the people within the constituency don't know who the delegates are? And for me, I didn't think that it should get to the stage it's gotten to. Especially when there's an ID card. If somebody comes and that person seems not to be the right person, show your ID card. It will tell you. Electoral Commission too can look at the details on your ID card to see whether it is you or it is not you. Yeah, definitely.
We are told that Kojo Bonsu has gone to the Asawase constituency, and he's been speaking to journalists over there and all that. Once the sound is loaded, I would like us to hear from Kojo Bonsu and what is it. But Nick Pakpo Samoa Ado has just walked into the studio.
I haven't finished.
Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry. I thought you had landed.
I haven't finished.
Oh, I'm sorry. Please complete your thoughts. Someone said I should tell you that there's Baba Chairman Tamale. He says I should tell you, His Excellency K. Jantwa, to chill because Wayo Gananti is no match for you. He says that by fire, by force, His Excellency, Mr. K. Jantwa, must lead the CPP.
Yes.
And that's Baba Chairman from Tamale.
Yes.
He says I should tell you, and so I'm telling you straight at your face. I don't want to miss the West.
Yes.
The public is crying for you.
The people need you.
Yeah.
The people want you. In fact, you can see the youth out there. I think the cameras will pan out there crying for their leader.
Easily. I'll join them.
But His Excellency.
All right. Okay, Mr. Jantwa. So yes,
Look,
just before I go to
you see, it's very easy to be in an atmosphere like this, on a platform like this, to say all the right things. Agroniform, when you go down to the field, things change. Things change.
Okay,
now
let's
to
Mr.
conclude,
Jantwa, I'll hold on.
To conclude,
Yes.
Dr. Dufour, you've been in the CPP before. I came to meet you in the CPP.
You should come back.
Before you went. If you are not happy in the NDC,
come back home. Okay,
and
the
all
message
those in
is
the NDC who are unhappy,
come back home. The message is very simple. Okay, so before I come to Ni, let's take a quick trip to the WAS Central constituency, where Al Hassan I want to believe that it is Tajideen, right? Yes. So Al Hassan Tajideen is on the ground, and to bring us updates on it. What we need to know is that the voting process has started in various places. And Al Hassan, I want to believe that WAS Central is one of the places where voting has started.
Yes, vote started at exactly 9 o'clock a.m. So most of the delegates were not around. Voting started when the election electorate at the WAS Central started calling all branches to come forward and cast their votes. They gave some ground rules to serve as guidance so that the election can be conducted peacefully. They said the party will provide food and water to the delegates and advise all aspirants not to bring in food and water to be given to delegates in the center. They also said nobody should take a picture of the ballot, or if you do, the police will arrest you and make sure that you are dealt with completely. They provided a backdoor so that anybody who is done with voting will use that particular door so that they will not come and mix up with those that are yet to vote. They also said that the results for the presidential election will be announced before the parliamentary election. And for now, they are busy casting their votes. I can see most of the delegates trooping in. There is a security detail. It is very detailed here at the WAS Central Constituency Center, where voting is taking place at the WAS Technical Institute. And the aspirants themselves have started trooping in. I can see lawyer Mutiu Rahman, followed by some of his supporters into the voting center.
Yes, so Al Hassan, I wanted you to bring us up to speed on who are the main contenders in this WAS Central constituency, and also to tell us how many delegates are expected to vote in that constituency, and if you could also check how many have voted as we speak.
Voting started at 9 o'clock, like I said, and I've not checked for that one. But as we speak, the register includes 1,837 delegates. Out of this number, 1,791 are branch executives, 10 are former appointees, and the branches are 199. There is no proxy voter, and the special voting today will be 46. But for now, the contenders are the incumbent Dr. Rashid. We also have his former foe, which is a pharmacist, Alhaji Hudu Mokhtari. We also have a second-time contender, lawyer Wahid Bampori, and then a former secretary of the NDC in the Upper West region, lawyer Mutiu Rahman. But going into this election, out there, they are talking about the two main contenders, and they are the current MP, which is Dr. Rashid Telfo, and then Hudi Mokhtari. Hudi Mokhtari, in fact, is contesting for a third time, and he's pulling a lot of weight going into this particular election. And most people out there are expecting a kind of an upset going into this particular election.
All right, Al Hassan, I need you to go check how many people have voted. We are coming back to you later on so that you can give us an update of how many people have voted thus far in the Wa Central constituency. So that's our correspondent, Al Hassan Tajuddin, in the Wa Central constituency. Earlier on, I told you about Kojo Bonsu speaking to journalists at the Asawase constituency where he passed by. Kojo Bonsu is one of the candidates who are competing for the slot of the flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress. Nick Bakpo said he's going to get less than 1% of the vote when he entered into the studio. That's what I heard him saying. But Kojo Bonsu is there, and I want us to take a quick listen to Kojo addressing the journalist when he arrived at the Asawase constituency. After that, we will come back to the studio and we will continue to go around the country to get updates from our correspondents. So here is Kojo Bonsu.
You don't use noise to show your chance, but this is my own territory. And they're all my brothers and sisters. And I'm happy that there's peace. I'm happy that everybody is doing everything in their car way. We're one big family. So that is the most important thing. So that the big fight that we have is the 2024 election. Thank you.
One aspirant is out of the race, coming from the same Ashanti region.
Oh, I mean, it's not the issue. The issue is that what am I going to do for the people? And that is what I've told them. If there's one person out, it's one family. We're solving our matter. Yes, so that is the most important thing.
All right, so you had the Kojo Bonsu. Kojo Bonsu is one of the candidates vying for the position of flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress. The guests in the studio are smiling and laughing at what Kojo Bonsu said. I don't know why they are smiling. I'll ask them about it later. And I've also seen that there is a video from Ras Mubarak. Ras Mubarak is a former member of parliament. Is it Kumbungu? Yes. Doctor? Yes. It's Kumbungu. Okay, all right. So I've seen his video on the portal. Let me, when it is ready, I would like us to listen to Ras Mubarak. But I want to believe that our correspondent, El Samuels, who is in Kumbungu constituency, is on the line. El, are you there? Can you hear me? Hello, El. Okay, so we will try and raise El back on the line, but Nick Bakpo, you haven't spoken because you just came in. We've been talking about your party. We've been talking about Dufour's pull out. We've talked about the challenges that you've had the last 1 week and all the things that have happened. However, the elections are going on successfully, at least from the reports that we are receiving. Your quick thoughts on developments.
Okay, good morning to all our delegates. I want to say a special good morning to my branch that's accounted for my being late. I had to ensure that breakfast has gone. Other logistics have also gone as a branch. My delegates are comfortable. My reports indicate that they are fine. So I want to say a good morning to my secretary.
Send the envelopes too.
Oh, the secretary. My secretary.
Is that what the MPP does? Is that what the MPP does?
I think that is what the politicians do.
There's no you have to pay transportation. You pay transport. Obviously, every delegate who comes. You're not incentivizing them. You are paying for their transport to come. Yes, there are people who live far. Even in Accra here, even in my constituency, there are people who live maybe Amasama.
It's okay. We just wanted to be sure.
Yeah, that they are incentivized to come and they've come.
Incentivized
The way you are defending yourself.
It is about transportation.
It's the way Dr. Mahama acts.
When you go and meet your delegates, don't you pay transportation for coming to listen to you?
That's the point I'm making. So have they been incentivized to come? That's all. Why you now defending it and making as if
our primary elections is going to take place at the St. John's School. It's a very hot one. 4 candidates, 1 lawyer, 1 doctor, 1 priest, and 1 young journalist.
Did you say priest?
Yeah, there's a priest. There's a pastor. He's called Prophet Elijah.
Oh.
Yes, he's promising us all his church members. That's his campaign that he's giving. We have a deficit of 30,000 in the constituency. So his point is that his message is very simple. he has 25,000 members across the country. That gives us an automatic 25,000 votes if we vote for him. Then his other colleague pastors will make up the 5,000. So for him, his message is simple. Vote for me and I'll solve your deficit for you. Very simple message. Very powerful, very simple and powerful message, you know. But
I hope it's that simple, because you're talking about a church congregation.
Yeah, so, but at least you see, he makes, your messaging has to be simple when it comes to politics. So I enjoy, and it's going to be a hot one. I think the two main contenders are the lawyer and the doctor. And so I wish all of them well. I hope my delegates would vote and vote wisely and give us a very strong candidate to be able to take on Moses Enim in that constituency. We have a 30,000 deficit that we must wipe out. From the logistics, and that's why being in the center of these things, the injunctions were a worry because of the logistics nightmare. You have to pay for the venue, pay for the EC supervision, pay for, printing of ballots, pay for food, because the catering has to be paid in advance. You have to do all these things in advance. So if there's any change, it becomes a problem. Some of those things you have to go and pay again. So the attempts at scuttling the process by way of injunctions were a problem. And I must commend the party leadership and the contestant himself, Dr. Dufour, for looking at the larger picture. If you look at the delegation that went to see him, and if you look at the people that were involved in talking to him, these were senior members of the party, including the chairman himself. And, at that age and at that level, they have a certain, understanding. And I know he had some concerns. In this party, we need to be careful not to throw the baby with the bathwater. It is a Congress. That's our name. The name is National Democratic Congress. We must be tolerant of divergent opinion. You understand? We must, not to say that divergent opinion too should necessarily try to be obstructionist and try to be mischievous. But and whatever we do must be born out of goodwill, not out of ill will. So yes, if you had issues, was the court the best way to go about it? Well, maybe sometimes that is what you need to do to force an answer. But realistically, you see, sometimes you also have to be pragmatic. Did Dr. Dufour stand any chance against JM? You understand? But I also want my party to realize that there will be life post-JM. And so how we treat certain people now, it's important. You understand? And so there must be a balance. And I'm happy that at the end of the day, he withdrew the court case. But I was sad he withdrew from the race. Maybe...
But he's still going to be on the ballot paper.
I don't know. I haven't
the
seen
ballot papers were printed.
I haven't seen the ballot paper today, so I cannot tell.
Yeah, but they were printed.
Well, have you seen the ballot?
I haven't seen them.
So let's not speculate.
They were printed long before yesterday.
Let's not speculate. You haven't seen it. If you've seen it, that's different. I haven't seen it. And remember that if the injunction had gone through, you wouldn't have been able to hold the election. So it would actually we have been in contempt if any papers were seen with pictures and an attempt was made to vote. So let's wait and see if indeed his picture is on. I had wished he would have contested, you understand? Not because of anything, but it enhances democracy. I have an aversion to coronation. See, it's a democracy, and our constitution actually makes competition part and parcel of the process. Well, we still have one candidate officially, Kojo Bonsu. I wish him well. But my concern is, what do we do beyond this election? You see, it is easy to charge your base. Our election will not even be as hot as the MPP's election. But beyond the election, do we go back to factory settings? I say, what are we doing towards 2024? That is the bigger picture. Clearly, we always come here and sit and say, there's a presumptive nominee. So if you've energized the base, have we taken advantage of the energy to get our polling agents properly trained and ready for 2024. I keep telling everybody that the battle is at the polling station. I'm happy to see people gather and show a lot of commitment and enthusiasm at our constituency elections. Are they going to show the same enthusiasm when it comes to manning the polling stations, standing in the sun, rotating, having people who would count, who would act as agents, and also who would act as those who would tally? We call them tally agents, who would stand behind and tally, who would ensure that our agents are rotated properly, who will count the correct ballot, who will enter the correct data, who will secure the ballot sheets, who will transport it, who would ensure that the correct data is entered onto the collation center at the constituency level, who will stand at the collation center and ensure that the correct tally is done. That is what we need. So we must be careful not to get carried away, not to feel that, if we vote and somebody gets 90%, it means everything is fine. It means that the election go beyond that. As for your internal election, it is your internal election. But after the internal election, are you prepared to put in the hard work for 2024? I keep telling my party members, the EC's conduct this week should tell you, the courts are not your friend. The EC is not your friend. The battle is at the polling station.
Why? But is the EC? The EC is a neutral.
I really take aversion to
no, but you can take aversion. Have I accused you of anything?
It's a court.
Are you the spokesperson?
Both of us work in the court. Why is the court not your friend?
That is what he thinks, Kingsley.
Yeah, but I'm asking. So why? Why do you think the court is not your friend?
Opinion.
Why do you?
So you ask for an explanation.
I'm asking. What's the court?
So let me give you the explanation. Then you can take aversion if you want to take aversion.
I still take aversion.
This aversion, you are taking an aversion.
You remove my aversion by answering.
It's a premature aversion.
You answer. So why is the court not your friend? Why is the court not your friend?
When Dufour and the party went to court, who won? Who won? Did anybody? Was there a winner? It delayed our election. It brought about uncertainty. The whole idea is that the court cannot resolve your problems. When we went to the election petition, did we get anything?
They don't like getting involved in politics.
No. What was the positive thing we got out of our election petition? Zero.
You mean the NDC?
I'm talking about the NDC. I'm talking about the
what's
NDC.
the court's part in this?
So maybe what I hear Nick Papo saying is that as a political party, if you have an internal issue, resort to resolving it internally.
Yes.
Instead of going externally.
Yes. I'm saying no. And
I don't say the court is not your friend. As if we are. The court is.
Listen, you are interpreting what you want to interpret. Listen to what I'm saying. I'm saying that as a party, we don't get anything positive from heading to court.
Now you're speaking.
But why?
You say the court is not your friend. I say the court. Why is the court is not your friend? It's subject interpretation. So don't blame me for taking my interpretation. Put in a way that you are doing it.
So what do? You ask me.
So I've asked you, but the first thought that came, the first picture that was created was not good for the court system at all.
That is
I am a senior member of the court system. Why would I denigrate the court system?
Precisely. So I'll give you the chance. But the way if you had left it like that, would it have been good?
Okay, so maybe it's the choice of the way saying that the court is not your friend.
It is not your friend because
the EC is not your friend.
I'll come to the EC. I'm saying that, and I repeat, the court as a court system, the NDC, if you are going to take your complaints, if you want to take complaints about the electoral system to court, you won't get zero. The evidence is there. You don't solve our election issues in the court.
But
we solve it at the polling station.
I think I appreciate
Number
what
two.
I am now appreciating it, but the way you said it was hanging like that.
Number two.
The way it was hanging like that. No. I would have allowed that.
When dry both
of us, that's where we make our money from.
And I'm not denigrating. Listen carefully to what I said. If you don't, I will repeat it.
And Nick Papo makes a lot of money from this.
Exactly. He's even teaching people to make money from
that. That's why he's withdrawing the first one, because he's laughing at a threat.
I'm not withdrawing it. Listen to me. I said the NDC as an institution, as a party, we don't have any business taking our electoral complaints to the courts because we have to do our work at the polling station. That is what I'm drawing attention to. This platform is a powerful platform. I know I'm speaking to my members. That's why I'm taking my time to tell them that. And John Mahama himself has stated the same thing. our leading party officials after the election petition have said the same thing. We don't have any business taking our electoral complaints to the courts. We don't have it. Our business is to win the election at the polling stations. That's why I keep hammering.
And what Nipapo is saying will apply to other political parties. Well, so, for example, the New Patriotic Party. what business do they have?
The thing is, they have been able to declare part of our problems, okay, is that we don't have the quality material at the polling station level in terms of our polling agents. We have identified it. Our inability to collate our results on time. So I'm saying that let's solve those issues. I want us not to be overwhelmed or not to get too excited over the fact that we are going for an election and we are going to endorse a candidate, and after endorsing the candidate, we go and sleep. No. That is it. Number 2, the EC, and I'm coming to the EC. As at 2 o'clock or 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, when we were after we finished at the court house, the one at Accra, there was one brewing at Adenta. Yes. How did the EC get to know about it? They had not been served. The EC had not been served with any documents. The EC had not been served. And they were threatening that they were not going to go ahead with distributing our elected. That's why we had to do a FEC meeting, and the FEC decided that if the EC was not going to supervise our election, we will supervise it ourselves.
But the court suit at the Adenta was largely reported.
Why? Have they been served? Are they not an institution? Do they listen to radio?
When were they served?
They were not served.
When were they served?
I said they were not served.
How do we know they weren't served?
They were not served.
No, you see.
Okay. So my point is this. The reason why I'm making this point is that the NDC has to take a lesson that don't expect any favors from anybody. Go into this election 2024 with your own Azuma Nelson, your own knockout, properly trained and certified polling agents who know how to enter data, who know how to be committed, and who cannot be compromised. Ensuring that
good IT system.
Good IT system. Back it up with that good IT system. Our ability to collate our results both manually and electronically on time.
From the polling station level.
Enter it properly. The other problem is at the end.
And then go to the EC's office with your own biscuits.
Why did you go to
let me take a quick trip to the.
Go to the EC's office with your own biscuits.
Okay, guys.
Election, they don't do anything.
You sell your own biscuit. Don't
ask for biscuits.
I've heard Mr. Mahama saying that he will provide biscuits for his people.
Why did you go to court then?
Let's go to Ras Mubarak's constituency, where he's running, and again is Kumbungu constituency, and El Samuels is on the line. El, tell us what's happening at the constituency now. Has voting started, and has Ras Mubarak been there to vote already?
Having me to join you at this moment. It's interesting to say that electoral materials got in around 8 to 9 a.m. Was expecting to start voting around 8 a.m. But you know the delays that characterize our elections. But as we speak, elections have started smoothly. Security on the ground, remember, Kumbungu have always been noted as a flashpoint. But so there's security on the ground, making sure the process is going on smoothly. Delegates are comporting themselves, taking their seats in tents, and also voting and leaving. After 10 a.m., as when I checked from the ballot papers that have been issued, we had almost 125 people out of the 969 that are supposed to vote. Remember, Kumbungu is just a constituency with 174 polling station. So, like you asked, Ras Mubarak, the former MP, seeking for re-election, came some few minutes ago to come and vote. He came to vote with the number 4 on the ballot, which is made up of 5 persons who are looking to get selected to represent the constituency called Kumbungu. We have Professor Hamza Adam, Ras Mubarak, Leila Rashid Momin, Swali Malba, and Alhaji Ganil City. These are the 5 who are all looking to see if they can get a ticket to represent Kumbungu. So if the smooth sailing, so far so good, no hitches, And I'm praying that by 5 p.m. we should be able to get the results counted and we know who wins. And also they didn't get the parliamentary and the presidential as well. And so we're praying that at the end of the day there will be two heads and one person will represent the constituency.
Okay, great. But you did mention that the Kumbungu constituency is a flash point. And so tell us, what is the security arrangements you can see on the ground currently?
Well, currently, I can say that we have the police on the ground. We have security personnel who are in mufti position, making sure that there's one entry for delegates and there's one exit point for delegates. After we finish voting, you have to leave the auditorium. And also, there's one side that is only for those who are seeking for elections. They use that door to enter, to come and vote, and use the same door to exit. But apart from that, there have been, the police have stationed their vehicles around. There is a block. If you are coming, they need to check you before you enter into the main yard that is called off. And so I can tell you, security has been on top. The police are on top of their game. We have some military, but also dressed up and making sure that people will not take laws into their hands. So far, and I can say that the NDC in the constituency at this level been able to station people to make sure that delegates don't get issues, don't tamper with the elections, and they've been cool heads so far. So if you ask me for security, I will say for now, everything is on course, and we just hope that it ends safely as we are expecting by 5 p.m. without any problems.
All right, so El Samuels is our correspondent. He's on the ground at Kumbungu constituency. He brought us an update. Earlier on, Ras Mubarak, who is the former MP for the area and also vying for the slot again, did speak to the media. Let's take a quick listen to Ras Mubarak, and then we will head to the Korle Klottey constituency, or is it Klottey Korle constituency, one of them. So here's Ras Mubarak.
The exercise has been smooth so far. People have comported themselves very, very well. This is Kumbungu, the home of peace, and I use this opportunity to applaud our delegates who have come from far, wide and near, to express their will. And clearly, as you can see from the euphoria on the ground, there's a greater desire for change in Kumbungu constituency. The voice has been lost in Parliament. Kumbungu is yearning for a representative who is a national figure, a representative who can best, address and advance their interest. Kumbungu is looking for a representative who is experienced, who is patriotic, and obviously somebody who is very competent. And clearly, all of this put together are the reasons why there are a greater need or greater call for us to have change in Kumbungu. And certainly, change is coming to this constituency.
So that's Ras Mubarak there saying that he's bringing change to the Kumbungu constituency. He seems to have his constituents behind him, giving him all the support. We are going to the Korle Klottey constituency, but quickly, there's a message here from Wilberforce Kojo Abuaji. He says, good morning. John Mahama is done in the presidency of Ghana. He can win the NDC primaries by 99% and still will be humiliated by Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia come 2024 general elections. He belongs to the former presidents and he is going to remain as one from Frankfurt, Germany. So Wilberforce Kojo Abuaji in Frankfurt. And then there is Augustine Wood who says that why organize an election when you already have your preferred candidate? It's obvious the rigged election is only being held for the optics, and it is sad for a party that claims to be democratic. And that's Augustine Wood sending us this message there. You people should stop attacking Nipapo because Nipapo doesn't like this kind of things. And there's someone who's here who thinks that Dr. KB Mahama has done justice to the issue of NDC. It is an open secret that the whole NDC is against anybody or group of persons contesting JDM. Even though I'm skeptical, but I wish the NDC well in their internal contest. Thank you very much, Baba from Tamale, for sending your messages. All right, so before I come back to the studio, let's go to the Klotekole constituency, where Stephen Freeman, our man, is there on the ground and joins us to bring us an update. Mr. Freeman, please tell us, what is the situation in the Klotekole constituency?
Yes, so currently here at the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, the forecourt society, the voting started a bit late because the EC officials were still bringing in their materials to set up for the cast to start. But then, after 9 o'clock, the voting started, and we also spotted the incumbent, that's Dr. Zanatu Ajiman-Rawlings, casting a ballot. But the two other contenders, which is Madam Meredith Na Oda Kailamsi Adi and one Mr. Me John Alphonse Ullman, did not cast their vote. They were basically here to see how the elections were going so far. And I must also remind you that there is heavy police present here to ensure that the elections are conducted in a peaceful manner. So far, most of the delegates have actually voted, and in my interactions with them, they are equally telling me that they are actually rooting for Madam Meredith, in the sense that they think she actually has the potential to be the MP for the constituency. Me asking them why, and they tell me that they believe she has the competency. I equally put it to them, why not any of the other contenders? And then they tell me Mr. Coleman is a new person in the constituency, and he doesn't really know the delegates that much. And I also asked them about Dr. Ajiman-Rawlings, the current incumbent, and they tell me that in as much as they voted for her, they think she hasn't done much. And most of them actually voted for her because of her late father. That's what they tell me, that now we really need to vote for someone who has the competency to bring out the issues that are facing the constituency and the solution to actually solve them. But before then, let me also run you through some numbers. A total of 2,006 delegates are expected to vote today. So they also include 29 executives, 8 former ministers and deputy ministers, and then 1,971 other delegates are equally supposed to vote as well, Philip.
Right, so we can see the images from the place where you are. We see long queues. Is there a reason why there are these long queues? Is the election going slow, the voting process going slowly? Because we are seeing very huge queues there at the forecourt of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly. What are the authorities telling you?
I can hardly hear you. Can you kindly come again?
Okay, so I'm saying that we are seeing the images that you sent. There are queues of people waiting to cast their ballot. Why are there queues? Why are people waiting in queues? We thought this process was supposed to be very fast and smooth.
Yes, interestingly, I told you earlier that it didn't start on time. But from what I have observed so far, the queues are actually moving fast. And from some of the polling, you get to see that the delegates are really going ahead with their ballot casting and then moving out of the premises. Yes.
All right. Earlier on, too quickly, you talked about the security situation. From the images that I'm seeing, as what you sent to us, I'm not seeing the police directly in the videos, but I can see that there's a lot of cordon of metals all over the place, metals that have been used to cordon off the place and all that. Tell us about the security arrangements on the ground.
Okay, so unless you are a delegate, you are not supposed to go beyond where the place is cordoned. So the polling centers are actually divided into 3. So depending on where you are coming from and then where you are actually directed to go and cast your ballot, and then there is equally an exit for you after you are done. So basically, when the delegates are done voting, they are supposed to use the exit that are nearest to their voting centers.
All right, Stephen Freeman is our man on the ground. He is at the Korle Klottey constituency, and he brought us updates. The voting is ongoing. We can see queues there. We can see about 3 different queues, and they are all waiting patiently to cast their ballot. And then from there, I can see that on the ground, this is the forecourt of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly at the heart of Accra. So Accra Central, anybody who knows Accra Central, you see the AMA building there, and that's where the voting exercise is taking place. So Freeman, thank you very much for your comprehensive reporting. We will come back to you as and when there are developments there. So let's come back to the studio now, back to my studio guest, and to let Nick Kpakpo wrap up, because that's where we were.
I think that the excitement for us in this election is the parliamentary. What happens to the first-timers who are seeking re-election is going to be interesting, because if we lose quite a number of them, then it means that the electorate in those constituencies didn't think that they were up to scratch within the first 2 years. I've always said that there's always a difference between the presidential and the parliamentary. Parliamentary elections are local issues. That's why in Busia's hometown, the MP can lose, but he knows that the presidential candidate can win. If the what do you call it? If the delegates want to teach you a lesson, or if the constituents want to teach you a lesson, they know as for the president, fine, he's the presidential candidate. But as for you, we can deal with you, because these are local issues that we have. I hope and pray that we don't lose too many of our new entrants. I'm particularly praying that Madina Susu would go through. I'm hoping that, I know that Okankwe, Teresa is unopposed. But competition, as they say, is good. And the voice of the people is the voice of God. I think that looking at some of the MPs, if I look at the example that some of them do, and I'll give examples from both sides. If you look at the way Okujetu Ablakwa, he's literally always in the weekends in his constituency. You look at Abu Jinapo in the MPP. If you look at the social media handles, every weekend he's there. I've never seen a particular week, unless he's maybe out of the country. He starts on the Friday, goes round. You see, it is important for the MPs to be reminded that you first and foremost were taken to Parliament on the back of your delegates. You must have an interaction with them. So I wonder how some of them can come to Accra and decide that they only go to their constituencies once a month. You are only opening the ground for somebody to take over. Because at the end of the day, your constituents must see you. They must feel you. They must interact with you. Friday to Sunday belongs to them. Outdoorings, funerals, church, you must be there. You understand? So it will be a reward. And I think that people should not think that delegates are fools, that you bring them money at the tail end of a campaign and expect that sometimes it may work. But in most times, the delegates will teach you a lesson. Because when their child was sick, when they needed school fees, when they needed to call you at midnight that they need, but as a branch man, you feel these things on a daily basis. You get the calls. Oh, I need top up to go and take my goods. My child has just fallen sick. The school fees. If you don't deal with those issues at the time that you are needed, but when it is time for election, then you gather 500 cedis. They are not fools.
But that is wrong.
Well, I'm telling you that.
Very wrong.
What do you say is wrong?
Why should delegates expect a candidate to handle their domestic things? Why?
Well, maybe it's part of the political space.
Is it right?
The problem
is it right?
No,
let's deal with it. Is it right?
Is it right? Members of Parliament.
I was on the floor. Is it right?
It is not about whether it is right or wrong.
I wanted to hear Doc's explanation.
Let me finish. Okay. Let me finish. You know, it is something that transcends all political parties.
Exactly.
But it is not right, We've got to stop. We've got to get them to understand that the fact that you vote for someone doesn't mean that you can, drain the person.
Well,
Mr. Jantua,
you can also talk about this.
These are some of the things that fester corruption.
But Mr. Jantua, the role of the members of Parliament is supposed to be lawmaking.
Yes.
But our members of Parliament now are development agents.
Yes. Well, we give them funds for development, don't we?
Well,
we give them funds for development, don't we? The common fund, what is it for?
It's very, very small.
But he's supposed to be actually liaising with the district.
These are some of the things we should deal with.
Listen, I'm not talking about, I'm talking about being there. Sometimes It's about picking the call. It's about paying the person. Look, at the branch level, when I hold my weekly meetings.
How can our elections be fair?
I'm coming. I'm not talking about, it's not always about money. I wanted to correct this impression that you think everything is about money. At my branch level, I have branch meeting. At the branch meeting, I have to do a roll call and find out who didn't attend and why the person didn't attend. Maybe the person fell down or had a small accident or is not well. At the meeting, I'll have to assign people. If I can't go myself, I have to assign.
That is different.
I'm coming. So I'm saying that when you are an MP who is only always interested in sitting in Accra and you don't care about your delegates, it's not always about money. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That
define care.
Money, the care goes with
they need to see you at the funeral.
To see you at the funeral.
See you at the outdooring.
When you
go to the funeral, when you go to the funeral, you
has been made an Abuja Penny and you are in Accra. Things are going on in the house.
Fine. It is the demand. It is the demand I'm talking about.
When you go to the funeral, you have to give the insawa.
Yes.
When you go to the outdooring,
when you go to any funeral or yes. What do you call it?
When you go to the outdooring,
you give all.
For his presidential.
Yes, the you know.
I've never said.
My brother will continue from.
The thing is that when you become a member of parliament, the relationship goes beyond formal relationship to informal. They now see you as their brother, their uncle, their sister, their everything. Now, if you must give them money for them to vote for you in the final election on the D-Day, you better give them the money now. That's the point he's making. Because as see you as a brother, they get up, someone hospital.
They are buying the election.
They expect you, let me call so and so. So they transcend beyond the official relationship you have with them to become more personal relationship. It is on the back of that they demand this money. It's on the back of that they request for this favor.
Is that right?
That's what I'm saying.
Is it right?
It is not right, but it's based on the nature of democracy we've set up. Our system,
we should
our
change
system.
it.
Look, our system is too communal. Even if someone doesn't even know you, he will ask you for money. Now talk much less of you being elected as their representative. He knows it. People ask
Mr. Jantra, I'm not
I'll give you an example.
Yes.
I went to Dr. Akoto Osei's funeral. I went to his brother's house, DK Osei. Just around the corner.
Yeah, recently.
Number 26.
Just recently. A day to the funeral, I went. When I was leaving, all the people, the drivers and everybody who was there started following me. Started following me. I was like, what these people follow me for? Oh, Mr. Jantra, you should come. Then you realize, sometimes they won't tell you, but you realize when they come right up to your car and open your door, you know it's more than support. I was forced to put my hands in my pocket to give something.
Exactly. And you have to go deeper into your pocket.
Let me add to your example.
Because they expect that, oh, you are this high, so the money is there. And sometimes the money isn't there.
Let me give another example in addition to yours. You know, the day we met on another sister radio.
Yes.
When I came out, there were about 12 people standing there at that FM station. He said, oh, when we heard your voice and they introduced you as the FV, we came.
Yes.
Honorable, give us something. I haven't met them in my life before. I had to do something.
We have them coming here every time. Okay, so I'm told that there's some developments in the Sandema constituency. Okay. And so we will be raising our correspondent there in Sandema.
Sandema is Bulsa South, or is not a constituency, but is it a Bulsa South or North?
So
that is the former Deputy Attorney General, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah. Okay. For the NDC, that's his constituency.
Which deputy is that? Ayene?
No, sorry, not Ayene.
It is Minister of Defense.
Defense. Okay.
Sam Willie.
That's Agalga, isn't it?
Agalga. That's Sandema is within Agalga's constituency.
Okay, so there will be some verifications there for me, but our correspondent will be raising him. Castro is already on. Okay, so Castro, tell us what is happening in Sandema.
Interior.
Agalga. Yes, Castro, please go ahead. Tell us what is happening in Sandema. Hello, Castro.
Hello.
Yes, Castro, tell us what's happening in Sandema.
I'm not in Sandima. I'm in Tatale Sanguli district.
Okay, and your name is?
My name is Badim Thompson.
Okay, so please tell us, report on what the situation is where you are.
Yes, the current report on the ground is the electoral process is just about to start. So there was a decision by the NDC Electoral Committee that from the executive, the media was not invited. So for that matter, I have no right to get into the venue. Even I showed them my ID card and told them the stations that I was reporting to, but the committee were not ready to speak with me. City correspondent called me; they were not ready to speak with me. So I have to call my colleague in Tamale to report currently the situation on the ground.
Okay, Kweku. So this must be Kweku Samson, right?
Yes, please.
Okay, Kweku, please stay on the ground, and I'm sure that you can continue to talk to the officials. They will allow you to get into the space and to be able to do your work. So we've been speaking there to Kweku. He's one of our correspondents. He's at Sanguli. Sanguli. I don't know which region is Sanguli. Sanguli is northern region, in the northern region. Okay, all right. But we have two voices. Let's quickly listen to them. The first will be Sam George. Now, Sam George is the Member of Parliament for Nungo Pram. And yes, he's vying for re-election so that he can stand on the ticket for and on behalf of the people of Nungo Pram. He's been speaking to he's been speaking to journalists, and we want to take a quick listen to what Sam George has been saying, and then we will do Zaneto Rollins as well. So here is Sam George speaking to journalists.
Welcoming delegates, except you now want to dictate to me as a sitting member of parliament and as a parliamentary candidate how to relate to the delegates in the elections. I don't see the issue with what you are. I don't get a point you're trying to make.
The last time you bagged some 407 votes out of there's been expansion of the electoral college for 1,700 votes. What is your conviction?
It's going to be a resounding victory. There's nothing more to add. It's going to be a resounding victory. Like I've said earlier on, it's a battle between light and darkness. And I've never seen anywhere where darkness has prevailed over light.
You don't fear your delegates?
I trust my delegates. The delegates in Nungo Pram, I trust them. They are rational. They are logical. And here, when they're for you, they're for you. When they're against you, they're against you. They don't hide. And so I'm pretty confident.
Some people have said that you have actually invested a lot of resources. Also looking at the fact that you've been able to pass the delegates to this place, for want of a better word. You might have spent quite a lot of resources.
Being a member of parliament is an expensive enterprise. My electorates, not delegates, general election. The people who vote for me in the general election, apart from my responsibility as a lawmaker, expect that I will be there for them when it comes to social activities and social needs. Those demand resources. So to be an effective member of parliament, you definitely have to be resourceful. And I want to always believe that, like I always say, when you send your kid to school, the only way you can tell if your kid is steady and delivering value for the money you're spending is when you get the report card. The report card of every MP is the pink sheet every 4 years. When I became MP in a parliamentary candidate in 2015, I mean, people say Nungo Pram is a safe seat. What they're forgetting is that in 2012, the last election, general election before I became parliamentary candidate, the margin between the NDC and the NPP in Nungo Pram was a mere 3,000, just 3,000. Okay, that's how close it was. In 2015, when I became parliamentary candidate, 1 year of working, we moved it to 10,000 in 1 year in 2016, and in 2020 we moved it to 30,000. So when you take my report card as a member of parliament, every 4 years, from 3,000 to 30,000, it goes without saying that the people can only reward you with their votes if you work for them, and working for them is a demand resource.
Quick one on the withdrawal of Dr. Kwabena before. You've had a lot to say about him in the past. Were you surprised that he finally threw in the towel? Also citing frustrations and irregularities that had to do with the register.
Beautiful nonsense. Good riddance to bad rubbish. I told you that Kwabena before was not in this race to contest with John Mahama. You remember? I told you that when you met me in Aham. I told you he was contesting against spoiled ballots. Spoiled ballot had beaten Kwabena before. Too bad.
I mean, the issues you raised with the register, he raised with the register, the delegates list. How was it in this constituency for you? Were you given what you thought was accurate enough? Did you have any concerns?
Kwabena before had absolutely no case to make. When we all bought the forms, we were giving guidelines. The guidelines spoke about a delegates list. They didn't speak about an hour. Spoke about a list. When we all went through vetting, we're all giving the delegates list. There's been absolutely no problem with the delegates list. If for administrative purposes, someone decides that they want to make the process faster, and remember I just spoke about how slow the process is.
All right, so you heard there Sam George. Sam George is the Member of Parliament for Nugo Prampram. He's seeking to retake the slot so he can represent the people of his constituency. Why am I forgetting his name? I just mentioned it. Nugo Prampram. All right, so Sam George, and again, he's saying that he trusts the delegates, and so he believes that they are rational, and that because they are rational, they will vote for him. Now, before we take Zaneto Rawlins's address to the media, let's go to Abdul Razak Al Hassan. He is in Bole Bamboy, and Bole Bamboy is the constituency of the former president John Dramani Mahama. We need to find out quickly whether he spotted the former president there. Has he come to vote and all that? And so, Razak, good morning to you. And what is the circumstance you are in the Bole Bamboy constituency?
A very serene environment and ready for an election. Actually, as we speak, the election is going, and then delegates are casting their votes one by one. For now, I can see former DCs, former executives who are also here, ready to cast their votes. So as to describe the whole thing, it's very peaceful and calm.
How many delegates are we expecting to vote in the Bole Bamboy constituency?
Somewhere a total of 1,099. That includes police station executives, former DCs, Council of Elders, former executives of the constituency, and then former appointees. A total of 1,099.
Okay, and then who are the main contestants when it comes to the parliamentary slots?
I think number one is an officer or at a foreign set, and then he is Mahama Mantanayaya. We also have a local businessman, Mr. Richard Ablai Kara. And then we have the incumbent, number 3, Honorable Yusufu Sulemana. And these are the 3 contestants for the primaries.
Okay, have you spotted former President Mahama yet? Because we are told that he is likely to come cast his votes in his hometown, Bole Bamboy. Have you spotted him, or do you know whether he's in town or when he's coming to the voting area to cast his votes?
Yesterday we were with the convoy from Sola to Bole, and he's in Bole currently. Yesterday he campaigned and all those things, so I can assure you he's in Bole. The initial arrangement was that he's supposed to cast his vote before any other person. Unfortunately, party meetings and other things, they are going on, and that's the reason he's not yet here. Because there's another polling center in Carpenter at the southern part of Bole, so where the election is taking place. So he's supposed to cast his vote here and go to monitor what is going on at that particular place. Unfortunately, he's not yet here. We've not also been briefed when he will be coming, but the media is all ready for him to appear here. Then we can report appropriately.
All right, Abdul Razak. So please stay on the ground. As soon as you spot any sign that the former president's convoy is heading to your direction, please let us know. And then we will come to you and pick the live updates. And so that's Abdul Razak Al Hassan reporting for us from Bole Bamboy. Now, we will be coming back to the studio, but before we do that, we still have some other persons who are on the line ready to fill us in with developments around the country. I want my producers to help me with the other person who is on, but quickly, let's listen to the voice of Zaneto Rawlings, and she is the incumbent MP for the Kloliko constituency, and she addressed the press a moment ago when she went to the voting area to cast her vote. And so let's take a listen to Zaneto Rawlings, and then after that we'll return to the phone lines and get live updates from across the country.
What are your chances? I mean, you are having two contenders coming up against you in this election. What are your chances in this election?
God is on my side.
But how do you perform for the delegate to renew your mandate? If you assess yourself, what do you say to yourself?
I believe I have, but ultimately, the power lies in the thumb, right? But I know God is in control. I've done what I have to do. I've actually shared what I have, and even some of the executives who, at the time, did not know some of the things I've done. Fortunately, because of the primaries and having to go around, now they know all the achievements, and so they'll be better ambassadors for what I've done.
But looking at, I mean, the contribution your family has given to this party, were you surprised that some people came against you?
When my father was alive, I won the primaries. I was taken to court. Nothing new there, but what God has ordained, no one can change. So we do what we have to do. We don't get complacent. It's a party. There's democracy. People are entitled to protest, but we do what we have to do, and we shall prevail.
And they're confident of victory today. What is the margin of victory?
So you had the Zaneto Rawlings, who is expressing confidence in the fact that she will retain the slot as the parliamentary candidate for the Kloliko constituency. And so, yes, let's see what happens there. Our people are on the ground, and they will be giving us all the details when results starts coming in. Let's go to Idi Al Hassan, who is at the Nungo Pram constituency. We are told that some 2 persons have been taken away from that constituency. We do not know whether they caused any trouble. Idi, please tell us, what is the circumstances surrounding which these persons have been whisked away?
To be precise, what happened is that they were in the queue. Then one is telling one that one should go to number two. So it was that conversation. Then it turned into agitations, and then they started throwing tantrums to themselves. And at the end of the day, the police realized that it would disrupt the process of voting. So the police quickly rushed in and took them away from the arena, and then they took them away. So as we speak now, they've taken them away, and they are now in the premises of where the voting is taking place. So far, but what is going on is that everything is going on smoothly until that thing happened. But as I speak to you, everything is going on smoothly without any hitches at all. Process is going smoothly. But earlier on, the candidates were coming and in buses, and if you can identify the buses, the STC bus is for Samnate George, and the VIP bus is for the Michael Kwete Tete. So these are the 2 candidates that are vying for this position. But to inform you that the previous year, that's 2019, it was 7 votes that Samnate George was able to beat with Michael Kwete with it. So that's what is going on. It's 400 and then 407 for Samnate George. So we hope that everything will go on smoothly without any hitches at all, and we'll get the results and give you all the needed information that you need here. So the updates will be coming as and when we have any information at all here in the Ningo Pram constituency. To be precise, we are at the new Ningo DA primary the school. That's where we are now at the premises, and we are making sure that we give you the update as and when the information gets to us.
So, in essence, these two people who have been taken away are in the custody of the police, and they will be dealt with appropriately.
They are in the custody of the police now, and we haven't followed up to the police station because when we leave, we may not know what will happen here. We will not get the nitty-gritties of information that we need at the premises of the voting. So that's why we are also holding on. We haven't getting anything from the police now. So
yes, we need you to stay. We need you to stay at the voting area. We will raise the police command from the Nugo Pram Pram and find out from them exactly what the situations are. Thank you very much, Al Hassan, for your reporting. Stay on the ground. We are going to come back to you and get more updates on this matter. All right, so let's take a quick trip to the Adentan constituency now. And Andy Sepa is our man on the ground at Adenta. And he is also feeding us with developments in the Adentan constituency. A very good morning to you, Andy. And tell us, what is the situation on the ground at the Adentan constituency?
Right, Wilberforce. I'm currently at the youngsters' school where the election is being taking place on the Adentan constituency. Currently, there is heavy security around, and so I must say elections is going very smoothly. There is no chaotic scene. I've spotted anything. Election started around 8:30 thereabouts. So the aspirants as well are also present. I saw Nana Oyebampo, who just voted a while ago, and also Ramadan Adam is yet to vote, as well as Linda Winnie, who is fairly new to this game. She's also around and yet to vote as well. Currently, delegates are coming in their numbers. Most of them are queued towards the election polls, and they are casting their votes. The process is going as fast as it is. I mean, looking at how the people have, come here, and people, we expect much delegates to fill the space because right from the junction to the school, the number of supporters for each of the aspirants have stationed across the street, and so we expect a number of delegates to mass up here. But currently, elections are going on smoothly. There is heavy presence of security. As I told you, some of the aspirants have voted. That's Nana Oyebampo, Ramadan Adam, who is currently the sitting MP, is also yet to vote, as well as Linda Winnie, who is fairly new to the game, is also yet to cast her vote.
All right, so Andy, the Adentan constituency is one of the must-watch constituencies we know, and we'll keep an eye on that. But quickly, tell us, what is the total number of delegates who are expected to vote in the Adentan constituency in total? Hello, Andy. All right, so Andy has dropped the line, but that's Andy Sepa. He brought us updates on happenings in the Adentan constituency and telling us that voting is ongoing in that constituency and all appears to be good. All right, so if you are just tuning in, you are on Asasi Radio 99.5 here in Accra, Asasi Radio 100.3 in Cape Coast, 98.5 in Kumasi, and 99.7 in Tamale. This is your Election Nerve Center. We are bringing you a live coverage of the NDC's presidential and parliamentary elections. Nick Bakpo is asking for one of the popular songs associated with the NDC. So my producers will pull that song for me so that we can play it for Nick Bakpo and satisfy his curiosity. All right. So we're bringing you a comprehensive coverage of the of the NDC's primaries. The NDC is electing their presidential candidates and also their parliamentary candidates. They are electing parliamentary candidates for 212 constituencies across the country. 47 constituencies have persons going unopposed, and that means that there is no voting taking place there. Yes, but there's voting for presidential. 16 regions, 16 constituencies are on hold. They inform us that these 16 constituencies, some work needs to be done there, and so they will be taking it one by one and address those issues before the elections can take place in those constituencies. And so at the end of today, we will have results for elected parliamentary candidates for 212 constituencies. 47 will be unopposed, and so theirs is already guaranteed. And there are a total of about 739 persons aspiring for the position of parliamentary candidates. In terms of the presidential elections, there are 2 candidates now who are contesting. Candidate John Dramani Mahama, who is the former president, and then also Kojo Bonsu, who is the former mayor of Kumasi. Jonathan Ofori is back on the line from Asawasi constituency, and I believe he has some updates for us from the Asawasi constituency. Jonathan, please take it away.
All right, so I am still at the Kumasi Central Mosque, where the over 1,000 delegates are about to cast their ballot to select a presidential and parliamentary candidate. They have formed long queues as the Electoral Commission makes way to allow them to cast their ballot. There have been loud noises amidst chants where, these delegates share their parliamentary candidates on. Remember, this election is between the incumbent MP Muntaka Mubarak and another candidate who is called Masoud Mubarak. Right now, if you could hear from the background, these are the delegates, making noise. The Electoral Commission official appears to be interacting with them. So it appears the first delegates to go and cast the ballot is about to be ushered in. The Electoral Commission official is also here. It appears he wants to address them. But just before that, let me engage some of the delegates. You are live on Asase Radio. Yes, you clearly are excited about the fact that at long last, the voting should have started at 7 a.m. What have you observed so far? Because it appears it's past 11 and you are now going to vote.
Yeah, we'll be patient and wait for the ready time to vote. And we hope the end of the day, Honorable Muntaka will win, inshallah.
Are you worried about the time this is starting?
Yeah, I'm worried, but I'm not worried. I'm from Tako yesterday. I reached here about 12 o'clock in the night because of this vote. Okay. I left my work there and come back here because of the vote. So I'll be patient anytime and vote before I go back.
You are here to serve the interests of the party.
Yeah.
And so clearly the incumbent is winning.
He's winning. Muntaka is winning, inshallah. Muntaka is winning, inshallah.
But will you be surprised, though, if he loses?
No. I'm not doubting he cannot win. I'm not doubting. It will be win. We have about 80% win, inshallah.
What are your expectations?
My expectation is that I'm sure delegate, we are not going to disappoint him. He have 80%. It will be less than 70%, inshallah.
That's interesting. So Wilberforce, that's a delegate sharing his opinion ahead of the poll. The queue is very, very long, and it is expected that most of the delegates will troop in. Security has been beefed up, I must say, and the signal is that if you have no business no business here, you are barred from coming to observe this election because the security will not be kind with you. The Electoral Commission official has paved the way for the election to start. I can see some agents interacting with the Electoral Commission officials. But first, let me be quick to add that there are indications or there are some recommendations of, extending the voting time, especially when it suffered some delays. And so these are some of the questions we will be putting out to some officials within the party to brief us on any decision they have taken. Remember, it should have started as early as 7 a.m., but it's past 11, and the process is yet to start, even though there has been long queues in here. And I can see the regional secretary, walking around ensuring that things are set. Party agents, the presidential candidates and the parliamentary candidate agents are also up and about, ensuring that they are positioned to observe the polls. Earlier, the Ashanti Regional Police Commander was here to also observe the situation, and it clearly tells you that the security has been beefed up. They will ensure, according to him, they will ensure that the election is peaceful and devoid of any incident. So that is the situation on the ground, Wilberforce.
All right, Jonathan, excellent reporting there. Thank you very much for bringing us up to speed with developments in the Asawasi constituency. Earlier on, we played the voice of Sam George speaking to journalists in his constituency. We have his main contender, Michael Kwete, who has also been speaking to the media. It is only fair that we bring his thoughts with you, or share his thoughts with you, as to exactly what he says about the ongoing process and what his chances are. So let's take a quick listen to Michael Kwete. I will come back to the studio and pick the thoughts. Today, forum is going up to 12 o'clock. Now, after 12 o'clock, we will have a changeover where two of my colleagues will join and pick it up with the coverage. After that, 3 p.m. thereabout, we will come back. We have our colleague journalists who are going to be joining us for the conversation when this panel terminates. And then we will continue with the coverage until the last results is counted. We are not stopping this comprehensive coverage here on your Election Nerve Center. So let's quickly listen to Michael Kwete, and then we'll come back to the studio.
He's a big fat liar. He's the reason the police and other security agencies are here. You are here. Look at my demeanor and look at the way he's moving up and down as if he's a military man.
You're shocked today. Come already.
Yes, but that has nothing to do with politics.
You see, you are at each other's schools.
No, we are just into an internal.
Security around, are you secure?
Yes, in politics, when you have the support of the masses, you are always secured. So he has the police, he has other security agencies. I have the support of the masses, and I feel very much secure.
Once election you seek one person in one of the organizer, pay for electoral commission, there's other services around the world will be for this organization of this election.
Yes, that is what he chose to use the common fund that he's supposed to use in developing the constituency for. Either he writes it and share the money with his cronies, or he writes it and do similar things. So that is his choice.
I need to have 1 year contribution.
The common fund, I have a contribution.
Okay, so the also share of common fund. But the common fund is supposed to be for all the constituency and not for NDC.
It's in a time we are no interview.
Because one can't have a common fund.
A common fund, no, dear. So, on one because I will know and judge my beard. Besides, said my away. Time I errand boy, my honorable Yitimensa. Ministry be honorable Yitimensa, I know a errand boy, it was our ministry. Anointing, we won't say, or trust if you know, I trust a ministry where you are away, ministry where we are, then you are honorable Yitimensa. On one case, I say, in find out the application, I call Yajinu.
So, about four branches have been are still not voting in this election. Does that impact on you? Do you think it will have an impact on your results?
But the question you are asking me, you should know that the chances are bright. He was a first-time MP. I contested him, and he only won by 7 votes. This time, he is a second-time MP, and he chose to spend our common fund with his friends. He is not be able to do anything at all in Igbo program. So that alone should tell you that the chances are very bright and bigger.
And you're winning.
You're winning it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Michael.
Suzuza. Arise for Ghana, oppression of the land. Forward and seek your future. Development our goal. From vision to victory, the NDC shall lead. Able Democrat, Ghana, our strength in unity. From vision to victory, the NDC shall lead. Able Democrat, Ghana, our strength in unity.
All right, check with your time. It is 11 minutes past the hour of 11 here on Asasi Radio 99.5 in Accra, 98.5 in Kumasi, 100.3 in Cape Coast, and 99.7 all the way in Tamale. And we're bringing you a live and comprehensive coverage of the National Democratic Congress elections to elect their presidential candidate and parliamentary candidate. Since 7:15 a.m. this morning, we've been going across the length and breadth of the country, speaking to our correspondents and bringing you a live update of circumstances as far as this voting exercise is concerned. Across the country, most part of the constituencies that are voting have started their vote. A few constituencies haven't started yet. Some are just about starting. We've been speaking to our correspondents. They've brought us all the updates. My guests who have been in the studio have also been bringing their perspectives to these matters. Let's quickly return to the telephone line quickly before I come to the studio. And that's because we have Paulina Sewa Jemfi from Ejura Sechere in the Odumase area. And she joins us now to bring us an update. Sewa, tell us, what can you report from where you are?
Well, at the Ejura Sechere constituency, voting is yet to begin. Delegates are seated. The whole place is actually packed, patiently waiting for voting to officially start. We've been here since about 7 a.m. and there is no sign of voting starting. Even though the EC officials are here, they set up their voting booths, ballot boxes are ready. But information that I've gathered tells me that even the register is not in sight yet. So that is why voting may have delayed. So we are still waiting on them to kickstart voting. But in all the delegates are very enthusiastic and waiting to cast their vote.
So tell us, how many delegates are expected to vote in this constituency? And also to tell us who are the main contenders as far as the slot is concerned.
Right, so we have 1,500 delegates expected to cast their vote from about 164 branches in the constituency. And the amazing thing about this constituency is that the former chairman of the constituency has actually resigned to contest the sitting MP. The former chairman, who is called Tom Batuk, has resigned to contest the current MP, the Ibrahim Mohammed Bawa. And there are 3 others with a young lady who is wishing to become the next parliamentary candidate for Ejura Sechere constituency. So we have 5 people in general who are contesting.
Indeed, 5 persons contesting there in the constituency elections yet, the voting yet to start. But you said the place is packed, and so there must be security concerns. What's the security situation there?
I must commend the Ghana Police Service and the Ghana Fire Service. They are doing a great job. You can see police and fire officers all around. Security is well beefed, and everybody is comporting themselves. No disturbances so far. Each faction is enjoying camping, and the whole place is organized. I must commend the security services for doing such a good job.
So the main contention is the fact that the voting hasn't started. You initially said that there's an issue with the register that is supposed to be used. What are the party officials, the NDC party officials, telling you about what they are doing to remedy the situation? And are they giving any indication when this voting process will start?
Right, so some good news right here. As I am speaking to you, voting is about to commence. The electoral officer is addressing them. He tells us that they are going to mention them branch by branch. So if your branch is mentioned, you line up to go and the vote. So I am believing that pretty shortly voting is going to start since all issues will be settled. That's the information coming to me right now.
All right, so Paulina Sewa Jemfi is our correspondent. She is in the Ejira Setre Odumase constituency where she's bringing us updates. Thank you very much, Paulina. Stay on the ground. We're going to come back to you to pick more updates from that particular constituency. Eric Asante is also on the line. I believe Eric Asante is in the central region, one of those constituencies there. Eric, which constituency are you?
Constituency.
Yes, indeed. Earlier on, we spoke to you from that constituency. What's the update you can bring to us, Eric?
Let me quickly begin with how the two contestants got into the auditorium. The first person to get into the auditorium was Felix Kwachi Oposo, sporting a green, red, and black kaftan. One would say or describe his entry as triumphant because some of the delegates had to spread their clothes on the floor for him to work on. His main contender, Professor Kluche, also came in, and if you want to measure in terms of decibel, the noise level, then of course Professor Kluche received the highest. When I spoke with her, she indicated to me that she is quite surprised that the media would describe Felix Kwachi as a big wig. She says that if someone who is the youngest professor in physics or the youngest professor of physics, then of course, arguably, she stands as the biggest wig as far as this contest is concerned. Voting is underway. In all, 1,423 delegates are expected to vote. Per the wisdom of the electoral commissioner, the electoral commission here and the NDC executives, they divided the hall into 2 polling stations, and that is receiving 155 polling station executives. So everything is ongoing peacefully with the Ghana Police Service also providing security here at the Church of Pentecost Auditorium at Abra Binkwa.
So, Eric, I get the sense that the 2 contending candidates have all come to cast their votes already.
Yes, very well.
All right. And then have you been able to ascertain how many of the 1,400 or so delegates who have already cast their votes since the process started?
So in groups of 4, I can say so far 8 of 4 groups. So 8 times 4. I'm talking about 8 polling stations have been able to cast their votes. I can't really pinpoint the numbers readily, but we are looking at 30% of the delegates having been able to cast their vote.
Excellent reporting. Thank you very much, Eric Asante, for your updates. And we will come back to you as and when the process ends, and then we will get updates from you on the developments in your constituency. There are several reporters of Asase Radio who are in and around various constituencies in our country, and they will be coming to us with live updates, and then we will bring you all those details. We will come back to the studio shortly, but we do have a video of Rashid Pelpo and also Mukhtar Hudu, who are contesting for the WA Central primaries, and so let's take a listen to these two candidates who are all vying for the slot as far as the WA Central constituency. Earlier on, Dr. Mahama indicated that it is a place where we need to keep an eye on as far as the WA Central constituency is concerned. So let's take a listen to the contestants.
We are just simply going to wait for the results, but my confidence tells me that the game is over and we are just waiting for the results to happen.
You've seen the process. Is it okay for you?
The process is well done. I think it's properly organized, and I accept that the conditions under which elections are held in Ghana are the ones they have followed, so I'm fine with it.
Assuming without that meeting that it goes otherwise, what do you have to tell us?
Even though I don't believe it will go otherwise, but I am a Democrat. I accept democracy. I accept the principles of choice made by the people. So whatever happens, it is still me and my supporters over here supporting the NDC, working towards achieving victory 2024. It is our ultimate objective. I will unite the people wherever they are, whether they support me or not. It's still incumbent on me to work to unite them towards the ultimate victory 2024.
Yeah. There's this perception that, okay, a lot of freebies were dangled around the delegates. Do you share that opinion? Do you believe in it? Were you part of it? Of the delegates, a lot of freebies dangled on them.
Oh, no. What we do is to make sure they arrive here safely. Either we make sure we provide transport or we give them what takes them here. And so we don't believe in those things.
And sense victory when it's come. I can feel it. I feel the excitement in the room. I see people looking at me and beaming with smiles, which means they are ready to give the mandate to us. And that makes me excited. Number one.
The process so far, is it okay for you?
So far, I don't think there has been any hitches. I think it is fantastic. I think it is fantastic. It's very good. I don't see any hitches.
So, you think that you will be first time lucky in 2004?
This is third time lucky, and I believe so. I believe I'm going to be lucky this time, and we are going to deliver on the promise we have made to the people of Washington. We have told our people that together we are going to build the West Central they want. That is the promise we gave to our people, and we believe we can deliver on that promise.
Yeah, sure. There's this perception that there are a lot of freebies being dangled around on delegates.
Well,
do you believe in that?
Well, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it. I know that people want to make delegates comfortable. Of course, if a delegate comes to you and needs breakfast, they left home at 4 a.m. and they come.
All right, so you had the Rashid Pelpo first. He is the incumbent MP, and then you had Mukhtar Hudu, who is the main contender for the WA Central seat. And so, yes, you had both of them, all of them optimistic about their chances to win. Hajia Fatima from the Infantiman constituency has joined us on the telephone line. We'll take a quick trip to Infantiman. Hajia, please bring us up to date on what the circumstances are in the Infantiman constituency.
Okay, thank you. Actually, I'm at the Infantiman constituency, and the voting has already started. And so far, so good. The police have doing their best to make sure there is peace and order here. The delegates here also are interacting with some of the aspirants, interaction with some of the delegates there, and so far everything is going on well. And for the total number of delegates who are supposed to cast their votes today are 1,887 delegates. Oh, yes. So far, and there are 7 concessions here. They are the first one, the ballot paper is Michael Johnson, and the second is Ebony Jackson, and the third is Papa Johnson, and the fourth is if we take the Ebony, who is also the only female amongst the candidates, and the fifth on the ballot paper is Bernard Mainstar Ballot, and the fifth is Alfred and Kofi, and the seventh is Emmanuel Kofi. So yeah, these are the candidates who are contesting. So according to the communications director or the officer, John Bamble, he said Mami Efuase has a best experience when it comes to this, and also Mano, both of them have contested twice. Mami Efua contested at Greater Accra for her 2016 for but this is the second time contesting, and also this is the second contestation. So far, this is what I have.
All right, Hajia, thank you for your reporting. We need you to stay on the ground at Infantsiman constituency. We will certainly come back to you. Let's take a trip to Salaga now, where Imoro Al-Hassan is stationed, and let him bring us up to date with developments in the Salaga constituency. So, Al-Hassan, tell us, what do you see? What can you report?
Yeah, good morning. Good morning.
Imoro, please go ahead with your report. What can you tell us is happening at the Salaga constituency?
At the center for the election, Salaga South constituency, the number of delegates are 1,092. And the number of this, it will interest you to know that since 1992, we have a place called Overseas, popularly known as Abrumase. This year, the party leader decided that it's far to the district capital. So they've now exempted rather than for them to vote at their area called Law area. And the number of people voting there are 231. And the number of delegates voting in Salaga are 851. The number of police stations we have in Salaga, both Salaga and Abrumase, is 117. Multiplied by 9 police station executives, you get 1,053. The number of constituency executives are 28. Former MPs 2, former DCs 2, special vote 5, former appointees 2. So in all total, you get 1,092 Salaga South constituency. And we just had our incumbent MP, he cast a vote at 11:15. And delegates have started voting at the time of 9:40.
All right, so that's Imoro Al-Hassan bringing us up to date with.
And also, it's interesting to know that the vote has not started early because some of the delegates are saying that when they came from their areas, none of the candidates came to welcome them. So they are not ready to cast their vote. So the candidates have to visit them, welcome them, tell them of what they are requesting for before they started to cast their votes.
All right, thank you very much, Imoro Al-Hassan. Stay on the ground at Salaga. We will come back to you to get more details from happenings in Salaga. We are told that in the Buem constituency, there's been some confusion between the parliamentary aspirants because they are exchanging words over the positioning of the ballot box. I don't know whether the positioning of the ballot box should bring any confusion. We will try and raise our correspondent in the Buem constituency so that we can get a live update from the situation there in the Buem. Buem is one of the new constituencies. All right, let me come back to the studio and to engage my guests before I finally allow them to go. All right, so let me start from Ms. Jantua. Ms. Jantua, I know you've been following the process, all the reporting and everything. From where you sit, we can say that the process is going on smoothly, isn't it?
Peacefully, yes.
Yes.
So far, the challenge will come during the counting.
Once the voting is over and we are counting.
If there's going to be any machinations and anybody feels that something has been counted well, so vigilance is key in terms of the counting. But we know now for sure President Mahama is going to win because the opposition is weak, unfortunately. So let's see. But it's a good exercise. I like the way throughout the constituencies that you've been through, everything seems to be peaceful. And so far, there's no challenges.
The only signal we are picking is the Buem constituency. And the Buem constituency is supposed to be new because it's now being really created, isn't it?
The Buem constituency has been there, but it's just that because of the divisions taken out of it, the new constitution has been created out of it, but Buem itself has been there.
Okay.
And then
all right.
Kofi Adams,
yes,
former spokesperson, is the MP.
But what's the interesting bit would be how many of stalwarts could lose or could win. That's going to be interesting. And the voting pattern of the delegates, whether they are looking to see whether the individuals they vote for can win the general election in 2024. So that would be interesting to see. And I think as Ghana's democracy strengthens, it's becoming more and more obvious that voters are looking at what parliamentarians and those who put their names up have been able to do to help not only their constituency, but the country at large. And I think that is interesting. In the 2024 election, for me, it's not even the presidential that is interesting to me. It's Parliament, how Parliament turns out. And it could happen this time around where you get the opposition having more members than the ruling majority. So let's see. Interesting time so far as I'm concerned. If by some stroke of luck, the so-called smaller parties can gather themselves together, especially the Nkrumah's groups, can gather themselves together as one group and also contend strongly in the election, it will make it very interesting, very, very interesting. So,
okay. So, Doc, which of the, the parliamentary elections, we've been talking about it, that we've been picking the signals, all the contestants, everybody picking up on each other, making submissions. Like, for example, in Wa Central, we had both candidates, right? Pelpu and then Hudu and all that. From where you sit, I know you've mentioned some of the must-watch areas, but from the discussion we've been having, the going rounds, which of the areas do you think are shaping up to the extent that you, even as a political watcher, would like to keep a close eye on?
Yeah, so I mean, like Lawyer Jantua said, and like lawyers always say, they are both lawyers. Like the equity does not aid the indolence, right? Equity doesn't aid the indolence. The rule,
Dr. Mahama.
The rule is that they must be watchful.
Yes.
Everyone has to make sure that he wins the elections. Make sure that the processes go fairly, and you make sure that you monitor and watch. So far, I think that both are doing, all parties are trying to do that. Starting with Ningo Prampra, we had report that 2 people have been arrested because some people wanted to influence the voting pattern of some other people. And there were some scuffles, and then police had to come and then arrest. So that, and if you also watch the body language and the commentary of both aspirants, if they don't take time, it's going to be a very acrimonious process at the end of the day, because Sam George is loud. Then I was thinking that the contender was a cool head, but from the words and the choice of words and what he was saying, making all sort of derogatory remarks about Sam George to the effect that he has not worked anywhere, he was an errand boy, moving from offices to offices, following E.T. Mensah.
It was not necessary for him to say
I
those
mean,
types
I
of
think
things.
those were stray pedestrian in nature for someone.
Stray bullet, as you call it.
Wanting to lead a party. If they don't take time and manage it so well, I know it's going to be one of the fiercest ground, a battleground for both. So we are monitoring that. I'm quite happy with the Wa Central issue. I raised it, and I was saying that but it's like both are level-headed. I mean, Mr. Hudu, Mukhtar, and then Rashid Pelpo, I think both are level-headed, and their reaction to some of the questions posed by the journalists, the fact that freebies were dangled, you see, both of them managed to give a response that is quite telling of the situation. These are people who want to forge ahead after the election. I think that a win for Mukhtar is better for the fortunes of the MPP than a win for
Rashid
Pelpo. Because
Why?
the people are traditionally NDC people. And the last time we thought we have been closer to the election, the only disadvantage that will work against Rashid Pelpo is what we call the incumbency capital, the erosion of that capital. In fact, it is incumbency tax. Because once you are in power, people begin to tax you, so it is taken away from you. So that is the only thing that will have advantage. And Rashid Pelpo, coming from the royal family, in fact, his direct brother is the chief of Wa, the Wa now currently. That gives him some level of
is that a reason why they are all called? Okay, so that Pelpo will be
the Pelpo is the family name.
It's a family name.
The family name. So that gives him some bit of advantage. We move to Kumbungu. You know, Kumbungu election is
But
also...
he should use it to his advantage, shouldn't he?
Yeah, I mean, that's why he's using it to his advantage. He's using it. And you see, he has had experience of beating this Mukhtar Hudu for at least 3 elections. And that experience, I think, that will come to play at the end of the day in this election. And if Rashid Pelpo loses, it is going to be a major scar on the leadership of the NDC in Parliament. And he mentioned about how the old ones will lose or will retain their seat. It's so crucial because he's one of the people, when the ties in Parliament are so hot, he prevails from calm head and, I mean, the cool head type. So when he leaves Parliament, I think that, I remember recently when Haruna Iddrisu issue came in, it's like his seat was what was forfeited, or he was moved a bit to allow Haruna Iddrisu have a seat in the front bench of Parliament. So that is something that we have to watch for, and the outcome of it is very crucial for election. When you move to Kumbungu, firebrand, Raj Mubarak is there. He's been seen as...
Is he the never say die candidate?
Yes, it appears to me that the establishment is against Raj Mubarak and is a non-conformist. The fact that he's a non-conformist and the establishment seems to be against him, it gives me some fear that he may not win it. And if he doesn't win it, I'm not sure if he loses it fairly, better. But if he doesn't lose this election fairly, Ras Mubarak will not let this issue.
Is it a safe seat for the NDC?
Well, it is not. It is currently NDC have had this of winning it, and unless of course we have an extraordinary candidate, a candidate who relates so much with the youth, like the like of Habib, who came in for Tolong, like the like of Haziz, who came in for Myong, like the like of Hassan Tampul, who came in for Kushagun. Unless we have that kind of candidates coming up in the context of the MPP to contest the Kumbungu seat, it will be difficult. The current district chief executive, Fatau, who is a district chief executive now, came closer to winning the election. He has advantage if he's going to contest in the MPP primaries. He can give them, because of the development project he has led in that constituency, in that district, he can give the NDC candidate run for him, but he needs to go beyond that. I think that to win it, he must be seen working and being the youth type.
So just before you go on, I want to, I'll let you go on and then I'll come to Kingsley, but let's take a quick trip to Damongo, because Washiru Tahiru is on the ground there in Damongo, and he needs to bring us an update on the voting situation there. Washiru, what is the voting situation in Damongo where you are?
Okay, so voting started here at the Damongo Senior High School at about 10:30 a.m. this morning. So currently, there is a very peaceful exercise here. The atmosphere is very calm. we have a couple of police officers who are here to make sure that there's peace and order. I spotted a while ago the former MP for Damongo, Adam Tautilu, who was interacting with some delegates in a queue trying to cast their votes. His opponent, Zankawa, was also spotted a while ago, but they have both left the voting center, and I think they're going to prepare and come back later to also cast their vote. So at the Damongo Senior High School here, where the election is taking place, the atmosphere is actually peaceful, and people are going through the exercise.
So if you can update us again, how many delegates are we expecting to vote in this constituency?
So the constituency here, we are expecting about 808 delegates who will be casting their votes for these two candidates. So my interaction with some of them is that they need a change. They need a change. Zankawa is just coming for the first time, and they are thinking that he will be the best person to lead the party to the 2024 elections. And because the former MP wasn't able to make it, and he lost it to lawyer Abu Jinapor, they think that he is not fit to lead the constituency to Parliament, and so they need a fresh to come on board to be able to win the seat from the MPP, the ruling MPP party.
Right, so that's Washiru Tahiru is our man at the Damongo constituency. He brought us an update. Voting has started there. It is peaceful. All things equal, they should be meeting the timelines for this particular. Let me come back to Doc and for you to complete.
The last one, we would have wished that our reporter give us an update on Bolgatanga Central. Because Bolgatanga Central is one of the important areas that I think that the NDC will have to look at for. The candidate there, of course, it's been one of the most outspoken person, especially on the economy and finance for
Adongo.
the NDC. Adongo.
Okay.
So for the NDC. So
you think that the other one is safer? That's the former Deputy Attorney General.
Agalga.
Not Agalga.
Dominic.
No, not Dominic.
Yeah,
no.
Bolgatanga is
What's his
Dominic.
Ayene. Dominic Ayene. Yes.
That's Bolgatanga is. So he is safer. I think he will not have the battle is in Bolgatanga Center because the one coming up against is very strong. I mean, I have monitored because they are closer to my constituency, Wale Wale. We share more or less share boundaries in terms of with the region. The battle there, I will want to see how it's found out. At the end of the day, I'll put my ticket in Adongo because it's like he has advantage, but it's not going to be an easy battle for him in this contest. We will see whether or not he will be able to also make it. But largely, so far, apart from the few skirmishes we have heard, it's been peaceful so far. It is something that worth of commendation. We know that an election of this nature, of a very huge electoral college, where ordinary Ghanaians, in fact, when Lawyer Gento was seeing the visuals, he was wondering how, we are able to build, or NDC is able to get all these people to become part of the delegates. It has its advantages. The advantages are that it makes the ordinary people be part of the decision making on who they elect. The advantage is that it makes it difficult for you to buy, voters. Okay, but the disadvantages are also that the kind of thinking, the analysis that will go into the choice or selection of a leader is low. With the greatest of respect to these people, I'm not belittling their sense of judgment, but you find out that the work of a member of parliament can be misconstrued by these people, right? So when they don't understand essentially what the member of parliament is supposed to be, they will use other considerations which are not relevant to even the work to choose. So that is one disadvantage. Another disadvantage is that people may tend to vote on class votes. Okay, and the class votes may work against a relatively competent and experienced person, when in the actual case, a less experienced person that person is supposed to be representing them, and they will vote for a less experienced person. Another thing, a disadvantage, look, I will not be surprised if we have a lot of casualties. I will not be surprised, because you see
by casualties you mean most of
the current members of parliament losing their seats. The reason being that, look, our politics has moved away from, and everyone now knows what is happening.
Politics.
You understand? It has found fizzle out. Chuboi politics has far fizzle out. You see, everyone seems to now know what is happening in the era of mobile phone, internet, Facebook, social media. Everyone seems to now know what is happening. So the era of you trying to hoodwink them and to thinking that they monitor. You will go to our constituency and they are able to say, oh, Haruna Idrisu, so. But when they are not hearing of you, people will begin to ask questions. What is our MP doing? Okay, that is why I think that most of the sitting members of parliament may lose their seats. Some of them will definitely lose their seats.
And Dr. Muhammad, do you think that can also happen in the MPP?
No, I mean, it's very possible. It's very possible. You see, what will work against the members of parliament in the MPP contest is the point Nikoko mentioned, the ability to reconnect with the people. Because you see, they have the advantage of projects. Okay, being in government, they can use government projects to make a case for themselves, right? They have the advantage of incumbency. Well, if a newcomer is coming, unless of course you are an appointee of the government as well. We know that, Abu Jinapo was an appointee. He went, no, there was no member of parliament, and he won it. Okay, Asensu came in and won a seat. We have those history. But for the MPP, the sitting members of parliament have advantage over. Their only disadvantage that they may not have reconnection with the people. And that may work against some of them. But I think that, good or bad, some of them are necessary. My position is that, look, it is important. I'm happy that NDC processes have not been, apart from the presidential, will all complain where they use voodoo tactics and they use all kind of all kind of socialist machination to get some people out. If you allow an open contest, for instance, Haruna Idrisu is a stalwart in the NDC. People would have thought that he should be protected. No one should. But you allow a process. Let people size themselves up. And if they can come and contest, they will contest. It would have been a bad signal if people were forced out of the contest of, say, Tama Central. So I'm happy that they are allowing contests for even their people we all think they should have protected. I think elections should be drawn from that in the case of MPP. Because our last election, before the 2020 election, the primaries, was characterized by those kind of trying to protect some MPs where the grassroots want those people to go out. So we must always look at size the minds of the grassroots in the decision we want to take. Of course, some people are national asset. They are not popular on the ground. But the first rule is that you must be popular on the ground before you can say that you are making some impact at the top. So, yeah, the question is that it is likely to happen to the MPP, but we must look at when it happens, does it work to the advantage of the party or disadvantage? I'm sure that if it happens in the NDC, that they change a lot of their people, it's going to add to their advantage. Because people will then have new hope and confidence in the new people they have chosen.
But some people say that those kind of changes go a long way to affect parliamentary business, because you lose the people who have the institutional memory, the people who have.
But what if these institutional memory people die? What if they die?
Yes, but they are not dead yet.
Well,
so,
yeah, you see, I believe that anybody new person who comes in should accelerate himself and learn the process.
I
it's
agree.
good. It's good. The new changes.
Yeah, I agree. Look, the House of Parliament is a house of records, and the House everyone once elected must have capacity. In fact, as part of a requirement, the Constitution did not say you must have experience of parliamentary work before you are elected. Okay, the Constitution basically says that you must be 18 or more, must be of sound mind, right? This is the basic criteria. Even education is not even a criteria. So that issue is not important. It is important to the extent that you want to build institution of parliament. But what is the work of the clerk of parliament? What is the rate of people who are permanent members of this house? Okay, so the fact that elections are allowed every 4 months for us to elect members of parliament gives us a room that if anyone is not doing well, you have to change him. And the people are those to determine that, not some kind of people at the top who wants to build an institution of parliament.
So I'll give Kingsley the last word, but before Kingsley comes in, let's take a trip to Techiman South and also the Buem constituency. So I have two of my correspondents. Dauda Zikelfo is in Techiman South, and then Christian is in Buem constituency. Let me start from Christian from Buem constituency. What can you report to us in Buem? Earlier on, we heard that there was some fighting going on there.
Thank you very much. Currently at the Buemine Senior High School, that's the center for Buem constituency, where the primary race is taking up. Currently, the Electoral Commission is on break to take their lunch. So far, we have 550 delegates that have voted so far. That's 560. 560. Going back to your question first, after it wasn't fighting, but it was one of the candidates by name Honorable Ibrahim Adams that said where the positioning of the ballot boxes, the presidential needs to be at the parliamentary, and then the parliamentary needs to be at the presidential. So he came and was contending with the Electoral Commission and then the incumbent parliamentarian, Honorable Kofi Adams. So it was like, it wasn't any fighting or it wasn't any, how should I put it, any misunderstanding, but it was a little few of mishap.
So some kind of a negotiation in order to get things sorted out. I can understand that. But you said the EC officials have taken a break. So when are they coming back?
They have 15 minutes to do that. And they went on break at exactly 11:45. 11:45. So they should be
so we expect that by 12 o'clock they should come back.
Yes.
And this voting process is supposed to end at 4 p.m. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so we keep an eye on developments in the Buem constituency because it's of great interest to us. Were you saying anything?
The regional chairman, yes, the regional chairman in person of Honorable Japon Kuju was here earlier at around 10:58 a.m. to assess the proceedings so far.
Okay, and did you speak to him? Do we have a voice of him? What did he say?
No, he applauded the delegates that were in the auditorium, and then the EC officials, the agents, for so far abiding with the proceedings, and then the laws, the laid out laws so far for the smooth process so far.
All right, Christian. So please stay on the ground. We'll come back to you again for an update at the Buem constituency. Dauda Zikelfo is in Techiman South, and earlier on we did speak with him. Has voting started, Dauda, in Techiman South, and what can you report?
Yes, voting has started in Techiman South constituency. As I reported earlier, that at that time it was none of the aspirants was around. But as I speak to you now, all the three aspirants are here, and one executive from the national level, the national chairman, Johnson Ketia, has also visited this particular constituency. Voting has actually gotten to a point where I can, rate it like 80% or more. So we are expecting that probably in 2 hours' time, if all things being equal, voting would have ended. So I have also, made some visits to other constituencies in the region, Bulu East region, and I can confirm that voting is progressing steadily in all the constituencies in the Bulu East region, and we haven't recorded any, skirmishes or any issue of irregularities in any of the constituencies.
So that's Dauda Zikelfo telling us about how peaceful the elections are going on in Techiman South. Thank you very much, Dauda, for your precise reporting. We will come back to you to the Techiman South constituency. But earlier on, when we were talking about the Buem constituency, the altercation that went on there, we do have the video and the sounds of the discussion that was going there. Let's quickly hear it, and then I'll come to Kingsley, and I'll pick Kingsley's wrapping up thoughts as we begin to wrap up the first first part of this section ends at 12. After 12, two of my colleagues, Philip Asiao and Beatrice Edu, will join you and take you up to 3 or 4 thereabout. And then I will come back together with Benjamin as we complete this process. And so let's take a listen to the altercation that went on at Boehm. And then after that, we will come to Kingsley for his wrap-up thoughts, and we will bring this session to an end.
So you have to follow the procedure of the court.
All right, so you had the authentication going on between some party members of the NDC in the Boehm constituency. You could tell from the video we are seeing here that it was a misunderstanding about positioning of ballot paper, ballot box, and that really shouldn't bring about the tailboard war. It's good that they've been able to resolve it. So, Kingsley, let's hear from you as you wrap up all the things that have been happening. We've been doing this for the last 5 hours.
Well,
important anyway.
I must say, for the conduct of the elections so far, I think apart from these selected incidents, everything is running smoothly, which is commendable. There are some constituencies that I'm particular about. The first one being Osu, the Kwale Klote area. I want to see the effect of the removal of the Rawlings factor on his daughter, and to see if she wins. I think she'll win. If she wins, what the margins would be, and let's see whether she's evolving as her own person rather than riding still on the waves of her father. That of Pram Pram, very interesting in the fact that Sam George previously won by just 7 votes. You see, so let's see how he's bettered his lot by bettering the lot of his constituents.
Remember, the constituencies have expanded there too.
It's expanded there too. And then the campaign which he is spearheading in Parliament. Let's see whether the undertones that we are hearing of, whether it has any effect on this election. I would say Sam George is a firebrand. At times it gets on people's nerves and whatnot. But I think people should vote on what he's been able to do and his effectiveness in Parliament, apart from the several other things that people may have against him. And the person coming as well, we understand he's a businessman, and so he's a self-made person. And he was even talking about Sam George previous around Boydness. We don't know whether it's true or not. I thought he shouldn't be making comments on that. I think
it's below the belt.
It is below the belt. And if even that comment has to be made, it should be someone behind the scenes making those, and not he himself. And so he should be able to, if he wins, he should be able to bring everyone on board. If it begins to talk like this, it becomes a bit more difficult to do that. The other constituency is Adenta, Malene Senior, Oye is going for that as well. And then there's Ramadan. And we haven't really seen Ramadan's work in Parliament that much. He's a new kid on the block. And for Adenta, it's always been changing of MPs and whatnot. So that already is there. Then you have him, and then you have Oye. Oye has run in other areas before coming here. So I want to see the effect. I still think Ramadan may get through, but what will be the margins? I don't know.
He probably will have a lot of work to do at the national level.
At the national.
To re-win the Adenta seat, looking at the history of Adenta.
Yes, and Oye being a former minister, I think she should also position herself that even if she doesn't win, she'll be relevant to the party.
And when we say Oye, you are talking about Nana Oye later.
Nana Oye Bampo.
Now the name has changed.
Yeah, Nana Oye Bampo. So if she doesn't win, she still position herself so that she's still relevant. I think at the end of the day, it's an in-party election. So they should bring all themselves together. The outcome of this election, we pray it will inure to the benefit of MPP. Whoever wins, who doesn't win, it should inure to the benefit of MPP. We don't know about Aswansi yet, what will happen there. And we still want our Ashanti region back. So whatever constituency in Ashanti region that seems to have gone to NDC, we want it back. And so we are watching to see what happens. We pray, not just hope, we pray that it inures to the lot of MPP.
You know, in Asawasi,
yes,
the MPP had a bit of problem last time with Manaf Ibrahim contesting, and then against the Alidu, who was the MC. It appears that Alidu may not come this hour, I don't know, but Manaf seems to have advantage for the MPP side. And if he wins, I mean, a win against Mutaka might be easy for the MPP, because Manaf has also established, as Asawasi said, that it's a family system. You understand? If Asawasi is, they are able to trace who is the indigenous, because you see, their pattern said that if they don't see you, who are they going to see? Which member of your family are they going to look up to when they have an issue? So if you don't have your family very much established there, it's difficult to win an election in Asawasi. And that's the disadvantage against Mutake's rival, which is Masahudu. Masahudu is also a settler. He's from there. In fact, it's like he's from my region as well. In fact, his father comes from my region. But the disadvantage against Mutaka, who is also from Tamale or Dagbang, they have established in Asawasi long before some of this, and their family, they're able to trace. So I just pray that Mutaka's win will work for Manaf Ibrahim, who is actually, of course, that's a candidate I support for that election.
But Manaf is also going to have contest.
Manaf will have contest, but so far, he's been the only one who has expressed interest. So far, because his major contender was Alidu. Alidu was the MC, or is still the MC for that area, who had the support of Wuntumi and Ku. So that was why Manaf had to even had problem with the party, because the process, like all this, like we have been complaining, all those nuances or those fights are not necessary for our democracy. If they had come together, probably we would have been able to win. But Manaf stands a chance of winning the
I know there's a Hassan Adams, who is also showing signs of interest in the Asawasi.
Okay, maybe he has not yet shown up.
But you know him. You know Hassan.
I know Hassan Ibrahim.
You know him.
I don't. I mean, it's like I've not.
Oh, I like to show you his picture.
Yeah, maybe. There's one guy. I'm not sure he's I'm sorry to say, but he said, but I've not seen him on the ground. I wanted to say I'm not sure he was serious about it, but he said I've not seen him on the ground. So to
Hassan Adams, Yarema.
Yarema. Do you have his picture? Let me see.
That's Yarema.
Okay, I've seen him before. I've seen Hassan. Yes. I've seen him before, but I mean, this is my first time of knowing that he's interested.
Okay.
So I was just about to say that the conversation that Agjantua started, the incentivizing the people. You see, there are a lot of dynamics that go into it. As he's saying, the treason of the family. If we can't find you, who do we go to, and whatnot. So we have to really think about how we win ourselves off the brown envelopes that go, but we cannot be naive about the fact that things happen.
Yes, and the customary principles that are founded in our own
constitution. And the fact that it is not the same as what happens in UK and US.
And that was what I was coming to.
So we need to really think about it so that it happens. But we cannot just criticize and leave it like that.
You see, this is how the international community do not tend to understand our politics.
Yeah.
Because of the connections. Yeah. And because we have a situation where, be it Muslim, be it Christian, be it traditional, be it family, we are interlinked somehow.
Yeah.
Some way, somehow. Yeah. This week, I met somebody. When I say hi, don't even know that the person even knows my family. Till they told me, is your uncle KSP Jantua says, oh, we used to do this, we used to go to his house, then that linkage comes. If that person is standing in the constituency, you see, that's a connection.
And wherever you have money, you go and take the money and support the person.
Exactly. That's a connection.
So unfortunately, our session is ending. I wish I could keep all of you here till tomorrow, but you have to go. So yes, this is Asasi Radio 99.5 here in Accra. It's Asasi Radio also in Cape Coast is 100.3, in Kumasi is 98.5, and in Tamale is 99.7.
Can I make a shout out to Palgrave? Palgrave is in the Gwakwa
North. Yes.
Shout out to him.
Palgrave is my friend as well.
He is. And he was here last Wednesday.
And from here, I'm going to Michael Queen's mother's funeral.
Yes. We are told about that funeral. Yes, may her soul rest in perfect peace. So it's been a mixture of the forum and also the coverage of the NDC's ongoing parliamentary and presidential primaries here on Asasi Radio, your election nerve center. We've been bringing you.
Next week will be interesting.
Yes, next week there'll be a lot to talk about. So we'll be bringing you a coverage of it. My colleagues Philip Asiao and Beatrice Edu are going to pick it up after 12, and they are going to continue with the coverage. We are going to continue gauging the mood in the various constituencies, and hopefully between the hours of 3:30, 4 thereabout, we will be back to bring you the results that will be coming in and all the analysis that will be coming in. The friends here are invited. They can go home and take a break, and then if they want, they can come back and come and do the analysis, because when the results are coming in, that's when we'll know whether Kumbungu is what it is or Was Central is what it is or what it is not. That's when we will know. So we will bring you
gaps that would pertain in terms of who gets what would tell in the general elections
as well.
So if say some judges gap reduces, it will tell in the general election. If it widens, it will tell. Yes, it will tell in the general election.
All right. So yes, all those analysis will be coming up between the hours of 4 till late, till we get all the results coming in. The show has been produced by Emmanuel Ohiming together with a host of other producers who are at the back in our PCR, our production control room. There is Clansini Champon, there is Fifi Brew, there is Kobe, there is so many of them. I cannot readily remember the name. There's Anas Sedu, our senior producer here, and all that. So thank all of you guys for your massive production. This coverage continues momentarily. Please stay on. My name is Wilberforce Asari. Thank you very much for the privilege of your company.
It's our land.